entertaining you guys while we were upstairs, and there's a smile on the face. That means you like what you were listening to. So, choir, would you entertain us with one more song, please, before we move forward? Mrs. Smith, just 1 second. Do you have one more? I don't want it right now, but do you have one more? Okay, well, just wait just 1 second, please. Just give me a little bit. I'm going to stand. I'd like to report out of our closed session. We discussed student discipline cases, employment, appointment, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, non-reelects, conference with labor negotiator, conference with real property negotiator, settlement of claims, and we had one claim. Motion was made by Mrs. Smith and seconded by Mr. Morgan to deny claim number 547915 under the government code as presented. This was approved by the Board of Education with a vote of 5 ayes and no nays, no abstentions. So would we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? And we're going to be led by one of our very own from Vista Del Lago, Samantha. Well, there she is, right there.
Okay. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. My
inspirational quote is, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for today." And that's from Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, thank you. You guys may be seated. Now, Mrs. Smith? Yes, please. Wait a minute, just 1 second. Do you guys mind if we do one more before we go into business? Okay, I just want to make sure, that's all.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry
Thank you, guys. What grades are this choir made up of?
It's made up of freshmen through seniors, so I have all grades.
Okay, very good. I couldn't tell the difference. I couldn't tell which one were the seniors or the freshmen. I know all of them sound good to me. And I think to most of the people in the audience, okay, it sounds like all of the people in the audience now. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. I like the way you guys take my lead. I like that. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Let's see. Page 5. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought we had one of the students. We have the students. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah.
It's an organization.
Yeah. Okay, at this time, I think the floor is now open for election of, we're going to be electing officers. So the floor now is open for election of president. And
I would like to make a motion that Susan Smith be elected as the president.
I second that.
Call for a vote.
okay. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith? Aye. Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye. Okay, so.
Motion carries.
Motion carried, I'm sorry.
Congratulations.
We did the vote, okay.
She changes.
Yeah, so we,
Now the president.
Do we have,
She can vote and take this seat.
okay, do we have to have a vice president too, or should we all rotate at once?
No, we do it one at a time.
Okay, so now you'll take over leading your meeting. And you want to go ahead and move?
I can do it.
Would you like him to move?
Yeah, you're
wait a
gonna,
minute. What seat do I take? Because when I'm done.
Or do you want to wait until we have the other?
Yeah, I think we need to wait.
Okay, until we have
Because
all
we only,
three?
yeah.
All right.
All right.
But now she takes over. She takes over.
Do you want me to run the
Yeah.
meeting then? All right. Nominations for vice president for the Board of Education are now open.
I'd like to nominate Jesus Holguin.
Second? You have to say.
Oh,
Call for the vote.
call for the vote.
We're all new up here,
I know.
guys, so just be patient. You know, we're not in classrooms.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
5 ayes. 5 ayes. Carries.
All right, the motion carries. 5 ayes, no nays. Election of the clerk. We now need a motion for for election of the clerk. So nominations are now open for clerk of the Board of Trustees.
I nominate
Garrett.
C.J. Johnson. You can,
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Morgan?
aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
The motion carries with 5 ayes, no nays. Should we now rotate seats?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We don't want to bring disturbance to the crowd. Let me see, so where do I go?
What, you think you have your name on your seat? So where are you going?
I'm going to be over next to my brother. Yeah. Keep me awake.
Shoot. It's a different view over here.
Well, it's different from here too. And I had to bring all my stuff.
You get to come into that 3 agenda items record and then 3 non-agenda.
Got it.
I'd like to thank C.J. for a successful year as school board president. He went through some tough times, but he was still dedicated to showing up all the time, even when we had to tell him to go home sometimes. So he was a great president. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there for that.
Well, thank you all. Thank you.
All right,
Wait a minute. Diane, do we have that plaque to honor CJ? Could we present him with that now? Because I didn't know that Evan was going to say that right now, and since he did, I think, no, I think it's very important for us to capitalize on what you've created and started, Mr. Morgan. So we'd like to present Mr. Johnson with this plaque to congratulate him and thank him for a successful year as the board president.
I am humble. Okay. Do I have to stand? No, I don't have to? Well, I'm humbled and honored, and thank you for those kind words, all of my colleagues. I couldn't have done it by myself. I couldn't have done it without you guys. Thanks, Diane, for all those phone calls. And so thank all of you guys. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you too, Doc. You too.
Oh,
And the entire cabinet. Because I bug you guys too, so thank you.
our next item of business is item E3, proposed, item E3D, delegate and alternate delegate to the annual meeting of the County Committee on School District Organization. Is that where we are?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. The 2017 board representative and alternate as the delegate to the annual meeting of the County Commission on School District Organization was Delegate Cleveland Johnson and alternate delegate Evan Morgan. So do we have a,
I move that we keep the same delegates as presented for this year.
I'll second that.
call for the vote?
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Ball?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. The motion carries, so we will continue with Mr. Johnson as our delegate and our alternate delegate, Evan Morgan. Mr. Morgan, how many meetings did you have to go to in your alternate space this last year?
I don't know if I can count to zero.
Okay. So we can call on you for other things then, since that didn't take all of your time.
Yeah, CJ doesn't let me get in there.
Okay. Now we are down to E3E, 2018 proposed board meeting dates. I think we have a list of dates on page 8, with the next meeting being January 16th. Our usual schedule is that the board meetings are on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. January 16th is a third Tuesday, so we're off schedule for that meeting because we have another activity scheduled on the 23rd, which would be the fourth Tuesday. And then we also have the fifth Tuesday, we also have a work study session. So we try to avoid conflicts with the city council wherever possible. They are scheduled for the first and third Tuesday, and we are usually the second and fourth, with 2 or 3 exceptions throughout the year. So can I have a proposal on acceptance of the board meeting dates as proposed?
So moved.
I second.
Call for the vote?
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Ball?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. All right, E3F. Okay, the Board of Education of the Moreno Valley Unified School District adopts as continuing the following policies, regulations, procedures, and resolutions of the district. Are all of these on the website somewhere?
The board meeting is on the website,
Yeah.
and also it's been published and distributed.
Okay, these have been published and distributed, so if you have any questions on these policies, regulations, procedures, and resolutions, please feel free to look it up on the website or to call the district office with that question, and we'll be happy to answer it.
I make the motion that we adopt all the following policies, regulations, and procedures.
I second it.
All right, call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Okay. Are we ready for recognitions?
Superintendent's report.
Page 20. Let's go to page 20.
Page 20.
Yeah, she's getting there.
I'm getting there. I couldn't find page 20. It doesn't come exactly after 19. Okay. So we're on, we already talked about the regular board meetings. Do we need to go over those further?
No, they're listed and they're on the website.
Okay.
They're published.
All right, so E5 Superintendent's Report.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to our December board meeting. And we're very excited to share with you some things that have gone on since the last board meeting. And as always, I want everyone to know our mission statement, and I want even Santa Claus to hear this. But I want Santa Claus to know that we want every student to graduate from high school, and we want every student to pursue college or a viable career path. So we've told him our wish, so thank you for being here tonight. I want you to know that we're very proud of our students who participated in a day of coding on December the 8th. And this was a nationwide movement that occurred all over the country. And we had 19 elementary schools, 6 middle schools, and 3 high schools, Moreno Valley, Valley View, and Vista del Lago, that participated in this. So we're very proud of those students and those teachers that led that. This is part of LCAP Goal 1, which is to make students proficient in mathematics, English language arts, and technology. And we asked all of our schools to Samsung Solve for Tomorrow. And the Palm Middle School STEAM team has qualified for the second round of Samsung Solve for Tomorrow's contest. They're one of only 5 state finalists. Of course, that school is led by under the leadership of Dr. Melanie Harris. Is she here this evening? Oh, look at that. Would you stand up and show everybody how proud you are? Yeah. And is Dr. Amna Ahmed here with you tonight? Okay. She's Dr. Harris's professional development specialist at Palm and helped lead this activity. So they're going to go to phase 2 now, and they have a chance to win a share of $2 million in technology for the school. That's exciting, and we're very proud of them. One of our LCAP goals is to make sure that we are improving attendance. We have a 95%, we want 95% or above attendance for every student in our district. And we're very proud of the schools that have implemented Saturday schools. At Mountain View Middle School, and I see Dr. Patrice Harris and Michelle Dejournay, who are the assistant principals here tonight representing the school. Would you wave to everyone? And if there's any staff here with you, they can wave too, because you serve in Saturday school and help make it happen. So we want to thank you for that, because they had 50 students in the last one that they did, and they had the Deputy Probation Officer, Alicia Jackson, address the students on attendance and behavior. And these are creative ways that we're addressing Saturday school, and we're trying to offer it more at the elementary level, which it hadn't been offered before, in the way that this is being offered. We're very proud of Palm Middle School again, where Dr. Harris is the principal, and Valley View High School, where Mrs. Johnson is the principal, because they were in the 5th Annual California STEAM Student Showcase in Sacramento, and they presented yesterday, didn't they, Ms. Johnson? On Sunday. And Dr. Harris, right, on Sunday? Okay. And so that's quite a wonderful opportunity for these students to be showcased at the state level. So we're very proud of them. On the room here, look, it looks really different, but there's a huge red carpet down the center. But the district was very proud to host and honor the people that are partners with us. We recognize community partnerships, and we really appreciate the principals who attended, but all the partners that were here, because it takes all of us to make this happen for our students. One of the programs we want to highlight this evening is sometimes people don't realize that we have an adult education program and we have a preschool program in our district. And that enrollment is not counted into our district enrollment, but these are students that are served in district schools and are supported by district people. So 256 children are enrolled, and we are at full capacity. This is in Moreno Valley Head Start State Preschool Program, and we have a waiting list at 12% of our funding limit. Is Mrs. Boyne held here this evening? She's back there. She oversees this program and does an excellent job keeping us compliant. You might wonder where these schools are located. We have 2 full-day classes at Armada and 2 additional part-day classes. At Butterfield, they have 4 part-day classes, and at Edgemont, they have 4 part-day classes, and Rainbow Springs has 2 full-day classes. And then we have a state preschool program, and you might think they're the same, but they're different. And there's 144 children enrolled in the state preschool, and also at full capacity and has a waiting list. So there's a huge need for preschool programs in our area, and those programs are offered at Serrano, Sunnymead, and Seneca, and all schools have 4 part-day classes where there's a morning and afternoon class. We're very proud of that program and what they accomplish there. And when you visit those programs, you can see the developmental milestones that students make while they're in those programs, and it's just a wonderful opportunity for young people in our community. Our next slide tells us about our dashboard that is been made public. Every school has the dashboard. I know Mrs. Kerr is back there, and she's already rolled this out at her school. Her staff knows about it. She sent it out over the weekend in her bulletin, and she's really proud because at Canyon Springs, she's got 3 greens. Don't you, Miss Kerr? Don't act like you're not proud of this, you know. So a green, there's colors, y'all, and there's blue is the highest, then there's green, then there's yellow, and then there's orange, and then there's red. So there's these 5 colors, and you increase or decrease, and they said this was supposed to make things simpler. Now, y'all are looking at it like, what is this? So I knew that was going to happen, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this tonight, but on January the 30th, we're going to have a study session where we'd like for you all to come back and learn about this, because we want people to know about this so that you can help share information, but also help support schools in improving their outcomes so they can all have blues and greens, and we don't want any reds, yellows, or oranges, but we've got some. Another program that Dr. Bazanos oversees, I don't know if she's here this evening, she's at Adult Ed, but we have a very successful adult education program in our district that serves approximately 1,000 adults in our community. 1,000 adults go to school at night in our district, and some of those people are our parents of students in our district. We're very proud of them and the teachers who work there to provide this. So we're part of a consortium, and this is a very successful program, and we just want the community to be aware of it. Another program that's going to be honored tonight is our CALPADS data management recognition. Now, they're going to all be singled out, but I do want you to know this is a big, big thing for the district. People go, what's CALPADS? Do y'all ever say that?
I was saying that.
Yeah, board says it. Well, CALPADS is where we put our information about our graduation rate, about student attendance, everything. It's how we get funded. It's very important that it's accurate. Well, when I first came here with Dr. White, we didn't get an award like this. We got something else. And so we're very proud that the district has changed. And some of you ask sometimes, is the data accurate? Can we trust it? Well, Glenn Allegre and his team are here. Would you all stand? You're going to be recognized this evening, but this is huge. This is from FICMAT. This is a data management recognition. Where are you all at? Okay, wave your hands and act like you know, it's okay. But I think the board, you should be extremely proud of what has happened here, because this is a lot of work from their team. And the community, you should be really proud, because it's very important that we have data accuracy, and that's something we strive for the last 7 years. So I want to thank Glenn Allegre and his team. And Mr. Ball, they will be recognized again. But I want you to know this is huge for a district. Good. So, okay. Now, one of the things that you've heard this year is our district we have excellence on purpose. We have a leadership theme where we talk about championing equity. And that has a lot to do with the dashboard. And so we're going to offer an Equity Institute within our district. And there's going to be 10 schools that start this, and this is the first phase of schools to participate. But this is how we are going to address some of the inequities that you'll see in our dashboard when you come to the study session on January 30th. And then we're very proud of our continued work to get grants in our district. The CDE just awarded another grant. This is in partnership with the San Bernardino County Office of Education, where Mr. Holguin works, and 3 other county Office of Educations. And this is to increase the bilingual teaching pool in all of our schools. We are a part of this grant, and this will be part of what we do. Is Lily Avila here, or Martha Cepeda Medina? Okay, they were instrumental in helping write this grant. So we're very proud of that. It increases our students who have the seal of multiliteracy and the seal of biliteracy. So we're very proud to be a part of that. In our dual immersion program, there was a meeting here last week, and it was standing room only. Parents, there was over 100 parents here. So those programs are very popular, and they're at Armada, Butterfield, and Creekside. Armada, Butterfield, and Sunny Mead Elementary. They want to add one at Creekside. We are going to add one. That's what we said. Yeah, another school. But more than 500 people attended this Winter Academy presentation. And Dr. Pete Loza from California State University, San Bernardino was the guest speaker, and he's a former teacher here at Moreno Valley High School. Mrs. Maddox is real good friends with him, right, Miss Maddox? Okay. And it was just a wonderful event, but over 500 people. Isn't that amazing? And then I want you to know there's so many people that want to help the school district. We're very proud of that. Cafe Rio opened over on Day Street. Have y'all been there yet? So they called one day.
I've been there.
Yeah, some people have been there more than once. I have. But the manager, the corporate manager, called and said, we'd like to be a partner with Moreno Valley Unified School District. And I said, okay. And she said, would you like $2,500? Now, nobody says that. I have to go ask them for $2,500, but nobody ever says, would you like it? And I said, I've been talking to Santa. And so she said, well, you don't have to worry about Santa anymore. You're going to get it. So they gave our district $2,500, and we're going to use this for PBIS incentives, but we're also going to use it with Mrs. Johnson's Valley View High School water polo team, because they can't afford sometimes the CIF rings. And so I talked to them about this, the corporate manager, and she was very excited we were going to use this for that, and she even might give some more money because of that. And then I want to thank Mrs. Kerr at Canyon Springs High School. They held their first ever Kwanzaa celebration. It was planned and sponsored by the school's African American Parent Advisory Committee. But we're very proud of that happening, and thank you, Mrs. Kerr, for having that leadership at your school. And the next slide is about Eric Swanson. He's at Vista Del Lago High School. And this summer, he attended a Freedom Writers Institute with Erin Garrell. And we just had a meeting here in our district. And this was a movie, and there's a book out. You all know about it? Okay. Well, she has a real partnership with our district. And so on Thursday, January 11th, they're going to do stories from an undeclared war, and it's a documentary that will be followed by a book signing and the original Freedom Writers that will be there that were in her class when the book was written. So I hope you'll all join us at Vista Del Lago High School with Eric Swanson hosting. Aren't you proud of that, Mr. Swanson? Yes. And from 5 to 7 p.m. One of the things in our LCAP that we've reinstituted is middle school basketball program. Now, this started, there's a schedule here. It began on December the 6th, and tomorrow, or Thursday, when's the 13th? Tomorrow, yeah. They're going to have more games. So there's a schedule, and you can get this online, and that's through Think Together. They offer this as additional support for our district. So they're called the Moreno Valley Elites. And then I want you to know we started our high school basketball schedule, and we have 4 wonderful teams, boys and girls. There's 8. And there's practically something to do every night in this district. If you look at the end of the week news, if somebody ever says there's nothing to do, that is wrong, because there is so much to do and so much to support. Go out there and support these kids. They love it when you're there. They love it when I come. And I even think, why? But they say, thank you, Dr. Kedzior, for attending. They love it when the board attends. So it matters to them that you're there. So please go out there and join them. I want to thank Tina Dagnall and her team. We're very proud that Edgemont Elementary School is going to open, and it's going to open over the winter break. And it will, this first day of school will be January 8th there. Have you seen that new building there? Have you driven by there at night? Drive by there at night when the lights 10:30 a.m., and I hope you'll all join us. Canyon Springs, the stadium, every time you drive by there, there's progress that's made. Mrs. Kerr anxiously awaits, and Amanda Deniston and all the team from that school. But the Measure M funding is scheduled for completion in June of 2018. And it's right on schedule. And Mrs. Kerr, aren't you excited about that? Yeah, it's all going to be great, yeah. And then in January, is LaToisha Brown here? Okay, representing Moreno Valley. She's the principal there, and she's going to have a big move-in day there in January. On January 8th, they're going to move into a brand new 2-story building, and that ribbon cutting is going to be on March 7th at 9 o'clock. You might say, why aren't we having the ribbon cutting before they move in? We want it to be real nice for you to get there. And we also want to have the kids there, and we want them to perform for you, so we're excited about that. And then I believe Mrs. Dagnall and Mrs. Brown, the gymnasium is scheduled to open in February of 2018. And it'll be the second air-conditioned gymnasium in the district, so we're very proud of that, and everybody will be wanting to use it, Miss Brown. So Vista del Lago, you might not have as many visitors as you have. And then I think you should be very proud of our school board. They continue to learn. They're lifelong learners just like you. They go and they learn as much as they can, and they were all represented at the California School Boards Association Annual Education Conference recently. And so we're proud of their participation and what they bring to our district. And I'd just like to say to everyone, happy holidays to all of our Moreno Valley families. And I'm sure you all know, I see the principals and the assistant principals. They're excited. Winter break, this Friday, December 15th. That's, and everybody I see some of the teachers, you're not trying to clap or anything, but it's an exciting time. So now the students give their board.
Dr. Kedzior, just a comment on the sports teams. The Valley View girls have not lost a game, and they've been winning by 20 and 30 and 40 points. So they got a great team this year.
The
that
girls'
basketball?
basketball team.
Basketball.
Yeah. Miss Johnson, isn't that right? Thank you, Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Dr. Kedziora. We'd like to move to E6, school reports. High school student board representatives will give their school reports at this time.
Will the representative for Bayside Charter High School come forward and present the report?
Good evening, Cabinet, the board, and members of the board, and Dr. Kedziora. I'm Karen Velarde, and I represent Bayside and Charter Schools. The volleyball teams will be participating in the championships this week. We will wish them lots of luck as they play this week to determine the league champions. Update, the girls team won today's championships 2-1 against Slover Mountain. This week, we are having end-of-the-semester activities for the students, in addition to finals. One of the activities is a staff versus student volleyball game, and the art teacher is working on Christmas decorations with the students that don't want to play volleyball. We had a field trip to the Museum of Tolerance and took 40 students. This is an annual trip for us, and the students look forward to going to the museum. We are beginning Music Changing Lives in January, when we return from winter break. And this concludes our report. Thank you for your attention. We wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Will the representative from Canyon Springs High School come forward and present the report?
Good evening, board members, Dr. Kenziorta, cabinet, and community of Moreno Valley. I am pleased to announce all the fantastic activities that have occurred at Canyon Springs this last month. Sponsored and planned by our African American Parent Advisory Committee, we held our first ever Kwanzaa celebration last Thursday during both lunches in the library. Students were provided with lunch and learned about the 7 principles of Kwanzaa: unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, creativity, and faith. There was a good student turnout, and we are looking forward to a new annual tradition. Congratulations to a girls basketball athlete, Cheyenne Taylor, for being named to the all-tournament team at the La Jolla Country Day Sweet 16 tournament. She was one of the just 10 athletes from the combined 16 teams to receive this honor, scoring 15 points and 12 rebounds in the consolation championship game against a nationally ranked prep school team from Florida. The Seniors in Business Academy went to their first trade show Monday in San Diego. We entered in 5 categories, and we were the only school to place in all categories entered. Sage Scott earned 3rd place in website design. The silver award was given to Sedna Scott for both design, the entire class for salesmanship, and to Anthony Arcos for VP sales. 2 groups took bronze awards: Anthony Arcos, Jesse Hitchova, and David Gutierrez for sales material, and Angel Hernandez, Sage Scott, Melanie Arizaga, and Takudu Asala for branding. Their next trade show is in Bakersfield in January. They will compete in 17 events, of which 6 are live competitions. ROTC is collecting toys for the annual toy drive. The toys will be delivered to the elementary school children by Santa's helpers from our school. Last year they collected 800 toys, and this year their goal is 900 toys. Currently they have 500 toys. If you would like to contribute, the toy drive runs through Thursday. In our performing arts department, our choir and band programs have been celebrating the holidays with holiday concerts, both performed last week to packed houses. Choir has also been busy caroling around our district and community, sharing the joy of holidays. Auditions have begun for our theater production of High School Musical, which runs March 6th through 9th. There is an IB parent meeting night on January 24th in the library. New and incoming students and parents are invited for dinner and to come learn what the program is about and how to prepare to become an IB student. ASB is now working on items for our high school preview day, which is on February 14th. This is when our feeder middle schools visit our campus and take part in 5 different sessions: a mini pep rally, a mini kablush, a counselor talk, a campus tour, and a dedicated time to selecting their first year of high school courses. We look forward to welcoming the class of 2022 to Canyon Springs High School. Thank you for your time. Are there any questions?
Will the representative from Moreno Valley High School come forward and present the report?
Good evening, board members, Dr. Kasoria, and cabinet. My name is Maria Chalava. I am ASB secretary, and I am here to give my report. Finals for first semester are underway. Students are working hard to finish strong. We are excited that construction is moving along. English and history classes will return second semester to the brand new S Wing. The new L Wing will house ASB, yearbook, and a few world language classes. We are pleased to announce that we have 270 seniors that have completed and submitted college applications. We have 318 out of 525 seniors that are A through G eligible. Out of the 318 students that are A through G eligible, 125 are avid students. Congratulations to 18 of our EL students that were reclassified on Thursday, November 30th during our ELAC meeting. We are proud of this huge accomplishment. Our Business Academy students competed November 28th in Redlands and were recognized for their virtual business booth. They were honored with a gold level medal for booth construction. They also received a bronze level medal for website design. Their next competition is in January at the Bakersfield Trade Show. Academic Decathlon students will represent us at the county level in January. Students are part of a 9-person team that will compete against other teams in a 10-event contest. They will take part in a writing test, giving an impromptu speech, and an interview. We wish them luck. Winter sports are underway. Our gym will be completed in time for our basketball league games. Boys and girls basketball will be playing home games at Bayside High School this season. Girls water polo will play all away games as well. Boys and girls soccer begin their pre-season tournaments. Boys and girls wrestling have started league and are currently 1-0. This past Saturday, boys wrestling competed at Citrus High Hill Hawk Nest Tournament. Out of 63 teams, our Vikings placed 9th. Last Wednesday was History Day. Congratulations to our winners from our site. We are pleased that 5 group exhibits and 4 individual exhibits will move on to the district level in January. We wish them luck. Over Thanksgiving break, students from the French Club visited France. They visited the Eiffel Tower and Anne Frank's home. What an amazing experience they had. Last week, students were able to meet with Moreno Valley Councilman Ulysses Cabrera's. Students were able to visit with him at lunchtime. They shared their feelings about the city and some of their desires and wants for the future of Moreno Valley. Drama completed their annual performance of a mobile Christmas carol. The play ran November 30th through December 2nd. Students enjoyed their holiday favorite. Choir and band held their annual holiday concert on Thursday, December 7th. Students and families were able to hear a mixture of musical ensembles to kick off this holiday season. This concludes my report. Do you guys have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Will the representative for March Mountain High School come forward and present their report?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, school board, superintendent, and cabinet. My name is Nichelle Slayton, your borough representative from March Mountain High School. We are continuing with our implementation of PALS on campus to encourage positive behavior and student responsibility. The P stands for persevering mindset, A stands for always respectful, W for willingly responsible, and lastly, S for safety conscious. Teachers give out PALS tickets to students that are caught doing good deeds, including but not limited to being on task, going above and beyond what is expected, wearing college shirts or school colors on the appropriate days, excelling on tests, showing acts of good character on campus, as well as working well with others. Events at March Mountain and March Valley include: last week, the manufacturing class went to see the Jimenez Brothers custom shop here in our own community. Several students stated that they want to work here after graduation. It was great to see skills in the classroom applied in their career. Congratulations to Mr. Cole and Miss D, whose classes won our food drive competition. Both classes did a great job donating food to a worthy cause. We hope they enjoyed their pizza and ice cream. Congratulations, Student of the Month for December, Shanice Jackson. She is one of our 11th grade graduates this year. She'll be recognized tomorrow at Sizzler, along with all other high school students. Our blood drive was a great success. We collected 30 pints, which translates to 120 lives saved. Way to go, Mad Dogs. We look forward to taking Chromebooks home in January. Thank you to everyone who helped make this possible for our students. Our girls volleyball team played in their tournament today, and our boys will be playing tomorrow. The tournament decides who will go to league champions. Update, we took 3rd place. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Will the representative for Valley View High School come forward and present the report?
Good evening, board members, Dr. Ketziora, Cabinet and Community of Moreno Valley. I'm Serene Manuel, School Board Representative for Valley View High School, and I am pleased to announce all of the amazing things occurring at Valley View this past month. As the semester nears its end, the Valley View Eagles are working hard to finish strong. Final exams began today and will conclude this Thursday. In the area of attendance, 439 students had perfect attendance last month. Way to go, Eagles. We would like to give a huge congratulations to our November Student of the Month, Serene Manuel, that's me, and to our December Student of the Month, And to our December Student of the Month, Lauren Ramos. We are so proud of you. Congratulations also to the cybersecurity team from Valley View High School and Canyon Springs High School, who competed and finished in the top 30% among more than 3,000 schools in the state. Great job. On November 30th, we hosted our annual Mr. Eagle pageant. This year's theme was Paradise Island. 7 contestants competed in 3 rounds: talent, formal wear and interview, and silly question/sportswear. Luke Baxter was crowned as Mr. Eagle and won a free senior week. Eli Torres was voted by his fellow contestants as Mr. Congeniality and won a free class ring, which was donated by our business partner John Dorsum of Balfour. Ivano Shaini was voted as the crowd favorite and won 2 free prom tickets. Overall, it was a fun event. Also on November 30th, seniors worked furiously to get their college applications in by the deadlines. Students will learn of their acceptances in the spring. Clubs on campus are working busily to complete their projects. ASB is excited for our first semester service project, in which we will be visiting the Moreno Valley Senior Center to sing carols and decorate cookies with the senior citizen residents this Friday. NHS is concluding their You Matter to Me service project, in which students prepare packages of essentials including chewy granola bars, water, lotion, and socks. Once these packs are put together, they will be distributed to churches in the community, where members will pass out the care packages to the homeless. Our intermediate theater department hosted a children's theater performance last week, which highlighted many of our severely handicapped students, and our choir performed their Christmas program last week. It was a very merry event. Dance had their senior showcase performances last month, and our band performed in the Paris Holiday Parade on December 9th. Their winter concert will follow on December 14th. To help students get through the stress of finals week, AVID will be sponsoring their annual study-a-thon sessions in the Commons. Throughout this week, students may go to get their academic help they need. This concludes my report. May I answer any questions? All right, happy holidays.
Now I am going to present the report for Vista del Lago High School. Okay. Good evening, school board members, Superintendent Dr. Ketziora, teachers, parents, students, and community. I am Samantha Ron, ASB President representing Vista del Lago High School, and I am here tonight to bring you exciting news from our campus. As the year continues, we remain focused on developing our Raven values of R for respect, A for achieve, V for value, E for engage, and for never give up, and S for succeed, as well as our school motto to take care of yourself, take care of each other, and take care of the school. We are focusing on safety at Vista del Lago. In our last staff meeting, our staff is trained in active shooter and lockdown procedures by our SRO and Moreno Valley Police Department. We will conduct a scheduled drill upon our return from winter break. Focusing on instructional improvement, partnerships, and supporting our parents and students, we held a mathematics and literacy night on Tuesday, November 7th. We had over 120 attendees who enjoyed the fun activities planned by our English and mathematics departments. A huge shout out to Mrs. Dunhams and Mr. Callis in working on our departments in planning and facilitating this wonderful evening. Attending our Raven support and several avid students supported La Jolla Elementary at their mathematics family night. We are very proud of our 15 students who were recognized at the Riverside County of Schools who are receiving the COVID Seal of Multiliteracy on November 28th at the Riverside Convention Center. ASB has worked extremely hard within the last few weeks. On Saturday, November 11, 2017, ASB helped place flags of the military men/women in remembrance of our military heroes. ASB also went to a leadership conference on Tuesday, November 14, 2017. They learned about how to better themselves as a leader on campus. On Saturday, November 25th, 2017, ASB went to Ridgecrest Elementary to help share Christmas spirit at their Santa breakfast event. On Friday, December 8th, 2017, ASB also went to Butterfield Elementary to help along with their Santa event as well. Also, our senior class is passing out motivational cards to encourage them to make history within our graduation rate. The seniors are working hard as the days are counting for this special day. Lastly, on Thursday, December 7, 2017, ASB hosted a night with the custodians. ASB is giving back and surprised the custodians to have the opportunity to eat dinner with their families since they can't get a chance to spend time with them because of all their hard work. Health Academy has been working extremely hard this month as well. Our juniors are making professional portfolios and preparing for their mock job interview. Our seniors are learning advanced medical ethics. This gives them the opportunity to provide ethics within their future medical work. Health Academy has also attended a field trip to the California State University Long Beach to get more insight on the many medical programs the university has to offer. Our AVID program is working full speed with preparing for college. Our juniors have just finished prepping for SAT. They're also learning on how to overcome anything so they can achieve in life. They are also preparing to prep for the ACT. Our seniors are congratulating those seniors who are getting accepted into universities. They are also doing study groups in preparation for finals and for their AVID write-up. Our Visual and Performing Arts department rounded out the semester with their choral program under the direction of Mr. Tyler Becky, performed by their Christmas program November 30th and December 1st, and our dance program under the direction of Karina Colombo performed their senior showcase on December 7th and 8th. Winter sports are in full swing. Good luck to our boys and girls. This concludes my report for this evening. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Thank all of you for those great reports. We love to hear what's going on at our high schools, so thank you. We would like to move to E7, Recognitions, Communications, and Events. Resolution number 2017-1838, Dr. Martin Luther King birthday. And we are going to proclaim all schools to observe Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we are going to have that recognition and presentation along with our others. So Maribel Maddox will take over and do all of the recognitions, including that one. Thank you. Yes, we'll all go down. Oh, it doesn't? You said no.
It's not on there.
But there's no
Diane? Yeah. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, you can get when you come back up.
Okay.
Is Karen Johnson here? Where? Oh, Mrs. Johnson, could you please join Mr. Johnson up here? I'm not your husband, but join me anyway. We have a resolution concerning Dr. Martin Luther King's Jr. Day. There are so many things that one can say concerning Martin Luther King. Quite a few of us have read a lot. And on the other hand, some of us was around when he was around. I'll just tell you a little short story. I really, it was almost like, you know, being in the military and you want to be drafted. Some boys did want to be drafted. I didn't. But what I wanted to do was work along with Dr. King. But I went into the military, and I figured if I get in the military, maybe I can get a chance. But then they told us you cannot do anything as far as marching and sit down and stuff like that if you're going to be in the military. So we couldn't. Well, the reason I'm bringing that up is because most of us have heard about the march in Selma, and it's so ironic that we're talking about Alabama today. But there were many people that gathered together that march in Selma. And this is one of the times when I wished that I could be a part of it, but obviously I could not, as I just explained. But many people marched and were injured and hurt so we could have the rights that we have today. Again, maybe you weren't here then and you just read something about it. Sometimes when you read things, sometimes we could place ourselves in those positions, but sometimes we just read it and it's just something that we read. But believe me, if you were here then, it wasn't a pretty sight. So I'm going to close by saying this. Sometimes people who are against certain things, they can change. Never forget George Wallace when he stood in front of the door and said, "Nobody will come in here. Segregation today, tomorrow, and forever." But then he apologized for doing all those things that he did. And on top of that, just before he died, he was surrounded by, guess who? The same people that he did not want to integrate and vote. So that's my little story about that. But tonight, we're going to present this proclamation to Mrs. Johnson. Normally I read these things because I don't like to ever cut anybody short. So I'm not sure why you came, but you're here and I have your attention. So I'm going to do it. Ms. Johnson, do you mind if I read this? Or do you want me to just hand it to you? Thank you. Proclaiming all schools to observe Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day by means of appropriate instructions and activities in Moreno Valley Unified School District. Whereas the third Monday in January is a day set aside to commemorate the birth of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and whereas embracing diversity is a key component of the district's mission statement. And whereas studies and activities pertaining to the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. will help students gain a better understanding of diversity, not just students, but adults as well, justice and equality. And whereas knowledge and understanding of philosophy of respect for the rights of others, dignity, self-worth, empathy, civil rights, nonviolence, and quality of life will help students carry the message of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. forward. And whereas observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is an opportunity not only to recognize his life and his contributions to our country, but to rededicate ourselves to working towards making his vision a reality in our schools and community. And now, therefore, be it resolved, the district encourages the use of officially adopted curriculum materials and other activities that promote a greater understanding of and appreciation for contributions of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So let it be further resolved, the Board of Education of the Moreno Valley Unified School District acknowledges the significance of the Day of Remembrance and proclaims that all Moreno Valley Unified School District schools, in the observance of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, will participate in appropriate activities, utilizing available curriculum and speakers that teach about the contributions Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made to this country and to all of the people. Signed by the Board of Education along with our superintendent, Dr. Ketziora. So I'd like to present this to you, please.
You know, Dr. Martin Luther King said that darkness cannot chase out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot chase out hate. Only love can do that. He also said that true education is to think intensely, to think critically. Education plus intelligence, that is true education. So on behalf of the employees of the Moreno Valley Unified School District, we accept this proclamation and also the challenge that our superintendent gives to all of us, and that is to champion equity for all students. Thank you very much.
Good evening. It is my honor and pleasure to announce our recognitions for this evening. So we're going to go ahead and start with the Moreno Valley Optimist Club Letterman jackets. The Moreno Valley Optimist Club would like to present Letterman jackets to selected students from our district for their academic achievement. So students and Optimist members, I'm going to be calling all the Optimist members up first. Mr. Price, I see you there. I know if you wanted to say a few words. Oh, no. We got sponsors. Of course.
Members of the school board, audience, it's my pleasure to be here once again this year as the Morning Optimist Club presents varsity jackets to student athletes who otherwise would not be able to afford them. We don't just give these jackets out. The students have to have a 2.8 GPA and they have to do community service. These jackets run about $300, and we would not be able to do it without great community sponsorship and involvement. I did want to say before I start, though, it's been a long time since I saw a change of power go so smoothly and 5-0. So, that's very good to see in this community. We had several sponsors this year, and Sarah, I think I left 2 jackets in the back seat there. Our sponsors this year, Waste Management, and I'll have them come up after I announce them, but Waste Management sponsored 2 jackets. Tim Kazet, a club member, also sponsored a jacket. Sue Eris, Ann Danowski, Les Schwab Tires, Moreno Valley Rotary Club, another service club who a lot of people think we're in competition with, but we work together in a lot of programs. They also sponsored a jacket. Larry Froelich and my wife and I sponsored a jacket. Altura Credit Union sponsored a jacket. This was an interesting one. Moreno Valley High School, class of 1966, had their 50-year reunion. And after the reunion was over, they had money left over. And so they donated it to us to purchase a jacket for a student. So I thought that was really cool. Riverside Dental Group sponsored a jacket. Klein Industries and Martin Ketziora, the superintendent. So I want to thank all of those people who sponsored jackets this year. You know, the Optimist Club, everything we do is for kids in our community, and this is an example of one of the programs that we do. In addition to the varsity jackets, the Student of the Month luncheon or breakfast now was mentioned. We're a sponsor of that. We do Easter baskets. We sponsor Youth Fest, which is held every September. We host a Quarter Mania event, which is our fundraiser that helps us get money to do things like the jackets. We also sponsor the Moreno Valley Rockets track team. Ronald McDonald House, we go every year and cook twice. And Salvation Army, we donate quite a bit to Salvation Army. And, you know, everything we do is for kids. Every penny that we raise goes right back into the community. We don't pay anybody for anything. It goes right back in. And I want to give you an example. People don't know about what we do. My grandson was in a play this week. I went to see it. unfortunately, we weren't allowed to take pictures in the theater because they didn't have the money to purchase the rights for the, what do you call that? The copyrights for the play. You know, that's something the Optimist Club could help donate and sponsor. So the principals, if you're all still here, please, when your programs or activities need some help, come to us. We don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars, but we have a few hundred, maybe even 1,000 to help out. So, Ms. Maddox, I don't know how you wanted to do it.
I'll call the students.
Okay, well, here's what we're going to do.
They're right on.
Okay.
Their names are right there.
Okay, what we were going to do was waste management. Well, let me call the sponsor and you call the student.
Okay, how about that?
Okay. The first sponsor I'd like to bring up to present a jacket is Carolyn Anderson from Waste Management. And these first three will go to Canyon Springs. And the student is?
So congratulations to all the students that are receiving these jackets. It is a sense of pride to wear these jackets throughout the day. So Canyon Springs also, Ms. Kerr, if you have any of your staff to come up here also. For Canyon Springs, we have Jaden Turner, basketball. Miracle Grijalva for tennis.
Oh, wait a minute, I need Tim Kazette to come up. Tim Kazette, and then the next one, Ann Danowski, will be presenting.
Okay, and Ann Danowski, we have Lisbeth Ramos for tennis also, the student.
Yeah, the next three sponsors that will come up and present jackets will be Moreno Valley High School Class of 66, Royce Goodwin, former swim coach at Valley View High School, and Mr. Shaky, Harold M. Also presenting will be Frank Hernandez from Les Schwab Tires and Moreno Valley Rotary Club. And Ms. Maddox, you're going to be presenting that one.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. So for Moreno Valley High School, student athletes, we have Gloria Duran, cheer. Ariane Dodson Keys, volleyball. Maricela Casas Gamboa, wrestling. Where's Gloria?
Our next high school is Valley View High School, and if Karina Kokoletsi from Altura Credit Union could please come forward. Santa Claus, does you see the power the Optimist Club has? We have Santa Claus come to present the Optimist Club jacket. And, you know, this program would not be possible without the next person who's going to present a jacket for us, Leah Snell, who's a teacher at Moreno Valley High School. She did this at her school, so Leah.
Students, we have Jasmine Contreras, volleyball. Jessica Gonzalez, cross country. Eduardo Juarez, cross country.
Just so you know, we're going to go outside and take pictures after also, so if your parents are here. Okay, the last but not least, Vista del Lago High School. Carolyn from Waste Management will be back up here again. Vicki Price from Riverside Dental Group to present a jacket. And Dr. Kidziora from Moreno Valley Unified School District to present a jacket.
We now have from Vista del Lago, Devin Robinson, basketball. Marcos Ayala, football and track and field. And Ramses Flores Franco, volleyball. One more time, can we applaud all these students receiving the jackets and the Optimist Club? Thank you.
I'd like, if we can, all the students, if we can go outside because we want to get pictures. And if you're interested in the Optimist Club, we meet Thursday morning, 7 a.m. at Mimi's. And again, everything we do is for kids. And school board members, I do have a sponsorship form for you. So next time we present jackets, hopefully you will be along with Dr. Kidziora and these other community members presenting jackets. So thank you and Merry Christmas, everybody.
Okay, students get up front, so as much as possible, they'll let you know.
Do they need to come more?
Okay, let's close.
We're gonna get you a stand.
We're going to now shake everyone's hand. Oh, it's not done yet. On the board.
Okay.
And just go
It's a
around.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank
too.
you. Just go around. Yeah. Congratulations. Who loved this? Congratulations. They're beautiful. Congratulations.
Another 19. Excuse me.
Congratulations.
Will you ever graduate in 2020? About 10 years from now? 10 years. Now, you like 20 years. Okay, I like this stuff. 2020. How many years is that? 5 years from now?
Congratulations. They really look sharp.
Way to go, dude. All right, man.
Okay, well, what I'll do is if ever here, I will call them. I'll just have them come on out. Is your coach here? Congratulations.
Thank you. It's awesome. Congratulations. Sanity.
Mr. Johnson. This is a first.
Good to see you. Hey, my gift, you have my address, right? Make sure you look at I have a chimney. I do have a chimney.
Water polo. Yeah. I got it. That's the first.
So are we?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Just give them a second.
No. 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 Karen is here. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead with our next recognition, but I want to remind the audience that in high school, this is finals. So we have finals starting today, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I know a lot of our students, if they're not here, I know it's because they're studying for finals. So just wanted to say that to you. Next, we have the Valley View High School Boys Water Polo team. If the coach is here, or the athletic director, if not, Ms. Johnson will be here to accept for the team.
Can we have them come back?
Yes.
I'd like to see them honored. I expected them to be here, but I think we should have them here.
Definitely. So how about that? We're going to invite them to a future board meeting because their accomplishment really is outstanding, and we would like to honor them. Thank you, Ms. Johnson, for your flexibility. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Rafael Garcia, he's coordinator of CWA, to assist us with the attendance recognitions. We have 3 schools, and you can tell who they are, that have the lowest chronic absenteeism rate for October and November, and also they have kept their attendance at above 95%, which I think all of us know that if students are in school, they learn more, they get connected to school. So let's acknowledge these schools, and Mr. Garcia, who's here, their department is the department that actually oversees this. So let's invite Northridge, any Northridge staff. If anyone's here from Northridge. We see the principal, Dr. McNair. And we have her counselor, Ms. Holguin. We now go to middle school. We have Mountain View, and I know we have the 2 assistant principals from Mountain View, Dr. Harris, Mrs. Deschanel. Congratulations. You see their attendance rate. These trophies are very heavy. And high school. Canyon Springs High School, please come on up. Back to back. So they get to keep the trophy. This is the deal. We switch it every month at the elementary, middle school, and high school level, and they have to come and give it up or they get to keep it. So congratulations to these schools for their attendance rates. Then the banner gets unfurled for the picture. We are now going to go forward with our Golden Bell Award recipient. The Board of Education would like to recognize Project Moving Forward, recipient of the Golden Bells Awards during the California Schools Board Association Annual Conference. This very prestigious award recognizes outstanding educational programs in the whole state of California. The program is a partnership with the University of California, Riverside, and it's a technique being used to close the achievement gap by strengthening English language fluency and literacy skills. The program is directed by Dr. Linda Navarrete at UCR, and it's used more than 100 schools around the country. So at this time, I would like to invite Dr. Navarrete to please come on up. Anyone here from Seneca? Mr. Gallegos? Any of your staff? Yes, Seneca is and I have my boss telling me here, so I'll get this. Seneca is a demonstration school, so want to acknowledge Seneca also. And I know Ms. Villa is also here, the director of EL programs. But Dr. Navarrete, congratulations. The bell is here, and it actually rings.
I just want to thank everybody. This has been a really great partnership with the university and the district, and we see lots of student achievement, and we're very proud of it. So thank you to the board and Dr. Kazora, who's been a wonderful partner. So thank you.
Thank you.
I know you told me. Oh, that's right, a picture. Oh, excuse me.
See, you come here and we take your award. It's to display at the district level. Next, we would like to acknowledge the 2017-2018 California League of Middle Schools Educator of the Year. The Board of Education would like to congratulate and recognize Mountain View Middle School science teacher, Ms. Marissa Smith. I see her. Actually, last night, Ms. Smith was recognized at the California League of Middle Schools Educator of the Year Awards banquet, representing our district as an outstanding middle school teacher. At this time, I would also like to recognize all the honorees from our region, from our district. We have, if you're here, Nicholas Elliott, Maria Esquivel, please come on up, Alice Wheatley, Marissa Smith, Danette Aguilar, and Jeremy Denson. And if any of their principals or staff are here, please come on up to recognize your outstanding teachers. Thank you. Yeah, we're going to take a picture and you're going to shake hands again. You can stand right by your teacher. Thank you for being here. Let's take a picture and then you can shake hands. Thank you.
Oh, okay, all right.
Did you call Mr. Vernon? I called everyone.
All right, thanks.
Mr. Barney's back there. He didn't come up. He didn't come up. Thank you so very much.
She's too much.
You should come up.
How you doing, buddy? Empty doghouse.
And our last recognition for this evening, and I think you saw this in our superintendent's report, is to acknowledge the work that has been done by our assessment and accountability department on their CALPADS data management. It's a recognition of their work. I want to read this to you because it's really important. This is a big deal for our district. Our board would like to recognize the accountability and assessment team, Mr. Alegre, and your team, if you can come on up. I will. Okay. Due to his great efforts and his team's great efforts, our district has qualified for the 2016-17 CALPADS Data Management Recognition. This is by the state, by the way. This is awarded to local education agencies that met the initial CALPADS certification deadline. So they had to meet the deadline. Then they had to be accurate. Then they could not have more than 2% of any type of error, and they also had to maintain the quality. It is important because this is how our district is funded. This is how our district's graduation rate, dropout rate, attendance, suspensions. This is how it's monitored in every single district in this state. And to have this type of accuracy with over 32,000 students and all the CALPADS codes that they have, it's a lot of work. So we want to acknowledge Mr. Glenn Alegre, Director. You want to wave? Jessica Axe, Coordinator. Denise McCrae, Secretary. Janice Manu, Data Technician. Annabeth Infante, Secretary. Rosalinda Rodriguez, Data Clerk. And we also like to acknowledge Sandy Chamas from Student Information Systems. And Steve Diaz, because without Student Information System, also this could not work. One more time, this is a big deal for our district. We're very proud. Proud that our data is accurate, because that's really important for us. So congratulations. Thank you for the work that you do with CALPADS and with all the assessment. Thank you.
Yes, I'd like the board to just stay down here for a minute. I'd like to turn the time over to Dr. Verde, who has a new employee to present to us. So take it away.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. Tonight, the district is recommending for hire a person to fill our vacancy in the Director of Purchasing position. It's a very vital position in our Business Services Department, responsible for guiding the district in terms of proper protocol for purchasing everything from supplies at the schools all the way up to dealing with vendors who help us with a variety of things in big contracts. So it's a vital position for the district, and we're so blessed to have somebody with such great references. We're getting this person who's an assistant director currently with Hesperia, has some wonderful experience, and she's going to be welcomed with open arms to the Moreno Valley family. So at this point, would you please welcome Tanisha Gratton to come forward.
I wanted to thank the board members, Dr. Ketziora and Cabinet, for your recommendation and your vote of confidence in me to fill this position. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I'm so excited to be a part of Moreno Valley Unified School District and to collaborate with the team and be a resource and serve the community. Sure. I do. With me tonight, I have my son, who's actually the person that I kind of use to practice and test out different materials for me. And he tells me what's cool and what's not. I brought with me also my dad. He's also in purchasing, so I get a lot of my knowledge from him. And I also brought with me my mom, that's taking the pictures.
We want the parents to come up and the son. Great mom.
No, they shaking hands, so we're not gonna stop. Great daughter.
Thank you, and this concludes our recognitions for this evening. Thank you.
All right, I would like to call for a motion to approve the resolution for Martin Luther King Day.
So moved. Second.
It was moved by Mr. Johnson and seconded by Mr. Holguin to approve resolution number 2017-1838 as presented. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Yes. Okay, staff responses to public comments made at previous meetings.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. I have 3 here that I'm going to respond to. We had some questions at our last meeting about the Moreno Valley High School requirement for 95% attendance to attend end-of-the-year activities. And one of the questions was who set the policy. And the administration at Moreno Valley High School set the policy to use the LCAP goals, which in our LCAP has students should have 95% attendance or higher. And so then the question was asked, how was it decided? A meeting was held at Moreno Valley High School to address the concerns regarding the fees for 12th grade students and the 95% attendance policy required for students to participate in the senior activities at Moreno Valley High School. In response to the fees required, it was agreed that a cap and gown will be loaned to the student and a tassel will be given at no cost. In response to the concern of the required 95% attendance policy for students to participate in school events, this only applies to unexcused absences or tardies. Seniors are given the opportunity and are allowed to make up attendance during Saturday school, after-school detention, lunch detention, or with an administrator at any given time. There's so much flexibility in that, and they don't require them to, go to one thing or the other, but they choose what they'd like. Parents were also informed that there is a no refund policy in place after purchasing a senior packet, but if the school is informed in advance, a refund will be given for the prom event. One of the main things is every effort is done to support each student and family so they may participate in these senior activities. However, we want to emphasize this is not a required activity of the school and is optional, but every effort is made to help people participate.
Could I just ask one quick question on that?
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
So how many days of unexcused absence can you have and still reach 95%?
Well, I don't have the exact number. I can get it for you, but 95% attendance of 180 days. I'd have to get my calculator out and calculate that for you. But
I think you can miss 9 days.
9 days, okay.
So you can have 9 days of unexcused absence and still qualify.
Yes. Well, but you also can make it up too. There's ways to make it up. So it isn't like if you do it, you can also, make it up.
You can repent.
Yes. You can beg for forgiveness.
Yeah.
And you can get there. And the school is very willing to work with people and provide the opportunities so that students can participate. It's done in a way to encourage students to develop responsibility and support for school events. So it's done in a proactive and positive way.
I think most jobs have a 10-day a year absence policy. Most jobs that I'm familiar with, they give you 10 absences, up to 10 paid absences a year. So I don't think 9 is excessive. I mean, 9 is not holding them to too difficult of a standard.
No. But again, every effort is made to work with the students so that they can participate. It's not that they keep them from it, but they do have to have standards for students to participate in things. This is a school district, and we teach responsibility. We teach children that there is an expectation. When our mission statement is, we want you to be prepared for college or career.
And that's an unexcused absence. It's not like an absence with a doctor's note or anything like that.
No, it's unexcused. And they have the opportunity to make it up. So.
Ms. Smith, can I go to the next one?
Go.
Okay. Unless the board
Sorry.
has no.
I just wanted to be clear how many days they could miss.
Thank you. This next question was about the Raptor Visitor Management System, and these questions arose from the November 14th, 2017 board meeting regarding the Raptor Visitor Management System and school procedures. The question was, does this system only check on sex offender registry? And the answer is, this system is designed for the safety of our students and campuses and checks the sex offender registry to prevent any offenders access on campuses. And the question was asked, what about checking on employees? The answer is Moreno Valley Unified School District does a comprehensive background check on all employees prior to being hired. All employees are fingerprinted. There's a background check on employees, so everything is done to prevent anyone working here that shouldn't be working here. And the question was asked, what if parents do not have the required ID to get onto the school campus? And the answer is we will not deny any parent access to a school. If a parent does not have a proper ID, they can make arrangements with the site administrator to go on campus. Again, these procedures and practices are in place to protect students. And we have a responsibility for 34,000 students, and we take that seriously. And so it's very important that we do more to keep students safe, and parents have asked for that in our community and our stakeholders in our LCAP. Then there was a question asked, and do y'all have any questions about that one?
Nope.
Okay. There was a question asked about our board meeting dates, and sometimes it's been said that we schedule things in conflict with the city. Well, we were at a meeting today, Mrs. Smith and I and Mr. Johnson at a task force meeting with the city council, and we talked about this, and sometimes there are conflicts. Our school schedule doesn't always match up to that being the second and fourth Tuesday. We have other events that are scheduled, so it's not that they're all like that, but we do our best to not conflict with the city council meetings. However, sometimes it's necessary to keep our dates in order to meet the needs of our students and staff. And then there was a question asked, do y'all have any questions about that? Okay. Then there was a question asked about why didn't the district do more sooner about the marijuana ordinance or comment on it? And the district was not made aware that the item was being discussed at the city council meeting. They didn't inform us. We found out through different sources. And once the board became aware, a discussion was held regarding the item. So that concludes that.
All right, we will now move to item E9, public comments on agenda items. Any person requesting to speak to any item on the agenda may do so at this time or when the item is addressed by the Board of Education. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for 3 minutes on any agenda item. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on each agenda item to 21 minutes. So let me see, agenda items. We have Roy Bleckert with 3 agenda items, speaking on the Citizens Oversight Committee, the architect for the Moreno Valley High School Performing Arts Center, and the board meeting dates. So let's go. Let's hear all 3.
Okay. We'll start with ECE, the meeting dates that was just mentioned. I believe last year I approached this board and the city council meetings and many emails. I was assured there was only 4 to 6 conflicts. I think it's going to wind up being 20. We're not to the end of the year yet, so I don't have a total. But and the parameters I asked the questions for, and of the future that I asked last time, was we have 2 school districts, Val Verde and Moreno Valley Unified School District, and the city of Moreno Valley in this jurisdiction. So I asked for that, and I asked for study sessions and that, because you had a study session, and you have had previously through many years, study session when you have your report on how the test scores come out. Always seems to happen on a day that we have a city council meeting. So that makes it very difficult to attend both. You have to make choices and conflicts, and there's meetings. I mean, I proposed it for many years. School districts and the city council should split the days. It's very simple. That eliminates like 95% of the conflicts, and it gives you more flexibility when you do need to schedule meetings. And if your tradition is on that day, or if, let's just say the school districts are on Tuesday and the city council is on Thursday, that gives them flexibility to add special dates in without having to conflict. If they put a special dates, which we've had, the city puts special dates in which conflict to the meetings of the city council. So then you're left with choices again, which is not good for transparency, I believe, or people being informed or being able to ask questions or make their concerns available to all of our city boards. And as the old saying was with Tip O'Neill, former Speaker of the House, all politics is local. And the politics that we can affect the most is local, probably the most important. So I believe that should be a consideration. I haven't heard it a consideration. I don't know if we're going to have the same amount of conflicts in 2018 that we had in 2017. I would hope it would be reduced. I don't know that it is. I didn't hear that it was. You've had meetings and stuff, and we have a long tradition of history. The questions keep getting asked, the solutions keep getting brought forward, and they keep getting ignored. Maybe that raises some alarm bells, maybe it doesn't. F3J, the Performing Arts Center. I see you have a proposal up there for putting a Performing Arts Center at Moreno Valley High School. Again, I just read, and I'm just asking the question, I'm not saying because I just read there's an issue with maybe not being able to fund an arts program at Chaparral Hills. But what we have to look at when we're doing that is, yeah, we can put facilities in, but make sure we have the ability to fund and keep them going. I mean, Moreno Valley Unified School District for decades has had, you know, a history of putting things in and then we have to take them away. And that doesn't serve the students well. It may serve a few students well, but when you take things away because you don't have the sustainability of funding to keep the programs going, that creates a lot of angst amongst the community. It doesn't serve the students well. And I hope we would look at this before we forge forward on doing this, because as you know, as I proposed and I brought up at many meetings with the city in cooperation with the city and the school district, you know, let's look at building more joint facilities that can be used more, you know, used more often than a lot of facilities that are only getting used a few times. I think if we all put our collective heads together and work on this, we could come up with better solutions. But again, that has to be a two-way street. H2C, on the Measure M committee. I ask a lot of questions about funding on that, and then I let them ride a little bit because the committee was, you know, many members left. There's new committee members in, so I'm going to pose the question again, and I'd like an answer in the future, fairly soon, because it's been going on 3 years since before the bond was passed. You know, where is the $75 to $100 million that was represented for the 5th high school? You know, where are these funds at? Because when you look, and some of you have attended the meetings on Measure M committee, some of the funds that do on Measure M projects do have come from other areas. So it's not an either or and thing. And we have to know what we're working with. I mean, if the money's there, if there are things there, maybe we don't need something over here. Maybe we can pool this in. Because as Evan pointed out, I think, on recently, you know, maybe we have to look at maybe no homework. Maybe there's avenues where we could go with 2 days of school. Maybe there's an avenue we can look with charter schools and everything else and facilities, public and private, to give every student the best possible choice. Because we don't want to put every student in one box. And that's been one thing that I see a lot, is we all try to go with one particular way of, we've always done it this way, or this is the way I think it should be done, and that's the way we're going to do it. And I hope that attitude will change in the future.
Thank you. We are moving on to E10, public comments on non-agenda items. The Board of Education encourages public comments. During this section, staff may briefly respond to statements or questions, or may ask questions for clarification. The board may refer to staff or other resources for factual information, direct staff to report back at a subsequent meeting, and/or direct staff to place the topic on a future agenda. If someone wants to lodge a complaint against an employee, the appropriate form may be obtained at any school or the community education center. Individual speakers shall be allowed to speak for a total of 3 minutes on non-agenda items, regardless of the number of issues to be addressed by the individual. The Board of Education shall limit the total time for public input on non-agenda items to 21 minutes. Per board bylaw 9323, twice the allotted time will be provided to a member of the public utilizing a translator. I don't think there's any need to increase or decrease the time, so let's get started with Marcela Quintero. And she will have a translator. So she will, didn't I say that? Twice the time? Yeah, I said that. No, I said there's no need to increase or decrease the time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Buenas noches, miembros del
Good
board,
evening, members of the board
público en general.
and public.
en general aquí y en sus casas.
There's
Bueno,
here and also at home.
yo estoy aquí como una persona que paga impuestos
I'm here as a person that pays taxes
y como madre
and as a mother
preocupada por la educación de mis hijos
that is worried about my children's education
y de todos los estudiantes en general.
and also the education of all the students in general.
Quiero felicitar también a la maestra Susan Smith
I also want to congratulate the teacher
por su
Susan
nuevo puesto
Smith
de presidenta.
for her for being the president of the
Thank
board.
you. Bueno, yo les pregunto que por qué no seguimos el ejemplo del distrito de Valverde.
I'm asking you why we don't follow the same sample as Valverde as district.
Que siendo más pequeño y con menos presupuesto,
Because even being smaller and with less funds,
ellos les están dando Chromebook, o sea, computadoras a cada estudiante.
they're giving Chromebooks to every one of their students.
Se los llevan a su casa
They can take it home,
y también están tratando de hacer un acuerdo
and they're also trying to make like an agreement
con la compañía Google
with Google
para proveer el internet gratis
in order to
a
provide
los estudiantes.
free internet for all the students.
Yo pregunto,
I ask,
¿cuándo les van a poder? Yo pregunto, perdón, vamos a
I'm going to
tener
ask,
aquí
sorry, when
computadoras para todos los niños,
we're going to have here computers for all the children,
ya que la medida M
because Measure M,
era una de las prioridades,
that was one of the priorities.
tener alta
To
tecnología
have high technology
para aprender matemáticas y ciencias.
in order to learn math and science.
Yo sé que están construyendo ahorita el estadio
I know that right now is the construction of the stadium,
y es importante,
that is important.
pero espero que para el próximo año
But I hope that for next year,
utilicen como debe ser el dinero
you can utilize as you're supposed to do, utilize the money as you're supposed to,
de la medida M,
from the money from the Measure M,
aumentando el rendimiento académico de los estudiantes
raising
de Moreno Valley.
the rate of the students from Moreno
Academic
Valley.
achievement.
The achievement,
Academic
yes,
achievement.
thank you. Academic achievement.
Ya que es comparado con el distrito de Valverde
Because when
y
you
de otros
compare with
distritos de
the
aquí,
Valverde's district
seguimos
or others,
por muy debajo de los estándares que
we
debemos
continue
de
to be
alcanzar.
below the standards that we're supposed to achieve.
También quisiera hacer un reconocimiento
I also would like to recognize
al señor Roy Blecker
Mr. Roy Blecker
por ser una persona que siempre está
for being a person that is always
defendiendo a nuestros estudiantes
defending our students
y residentes de Moreno Valley.
and all the residents in Moreno Valley.
Es un líder de opinión
He is an opinion leader
y muy importante para nuestra
and
comunidad.
he's very important for our community.
Deben de darle algún reconocimiento,
You should give him some kind of recognition,
ya que aquí veo que siempre dan reconocimientos y reconocimientos.
since I always see here that you give many recognitions.
Señora Susan Smith, felicidades
Miss
nuevamente
Susan
por
Smith.
su nuevo puesto
Congratulations again
de presidenta
for being the president.
y espero y deseo de todo corazón
And I hope and wish with all my heart
que con usted aquí
that with you here
el próximo año
next year,
mejoren las cosas,
things can be better
ya que usted tiene bastante experiencia
because you have a lot of experience
y podemos lograr
and we
hacer
can
los
achieve-
cambios que se necesitan en
we
este
can
distrito.
make the changes that are needed in this district.
Que pasen buenas noches
Have a good night
y muchas gracias.
and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And Mrs. Quintero, I'd appreciate it if you might find your way to stay till the end because I think we do, or you can watch it on live streaming. I think we do have response to some of your comments. So thank you. Next is Mr. Jorge Quintero.
Buenas noches, miembros
Good
del board,
evening, members of the board,
doctor Quisiora,
Dr. Ketsiora,
padres, maestros
parents, teachers,
y público en general.
and public in general.
Felicidades, maestra Susan Smith,
Congratulations, Ms.
por su
Susan
nueva
Smith,
posición,
for your new position,
ya que usted es de mi distrito, representa mi distrito.
because you represent my district.
Me hubiera gustado que Evan Morgan hubiera tenido un puesto también.
I would like also for Mr. Evan to have a position.
Me hubiera gustado ver caras nuevas.
I would like to see new faces. I would like that.
Una cosa que quisiera comentar.
One thing that I would like to comment.
Nosotros platicamos con el mayor Cristian Gutiérrez
We had a conversation
y con la señora
with the
Victoria
mayor,
Vaca
Ixtian,
acerca de
Gutierrez,
cambiar, que no coincidieran las fechas de los meetings del School
and
Board.
also with Victoria Baca. So in order the dates for the meetings of the Board of Education and the
Y
council
ellos
would not match.
estuvieron muy accesibles a trabajar con ustedes.
And
Ellos
they-
dijo que había cambiado con usted. Me extraña, doctor Quisiera, que usted diga que
And they were very accessible
no se puede cambiar.
changing the dates.
La disposición
It's
de ella
kind of
fueron muy
strange
diferentes.
for me, Dr. Kitcher, that you said that we cannot change it.
The-
Her disposition was very different.
Ellos dijeron que habían hablado con ustedes.
They say that
Y
they
es bien
already
importante para la
talked to you.
comunidad que esté informada, que venga aquí y a la ciudad.
And it's very important for the community to be informed, for them to come here and
que-
also to the city.
Hay que tener la disponibilidad para cambiar.
We need to have this position in order to change.
Yo quisiera hablar acerca de lo que está muy de moda ahorita, el problema de la marihuana.
I would like to say something about the problem that it's very popular now regarding the marijuana.
Y sí quisiera que en todos los salones se pusiera un póster
And I wish that in
Dice-
every classroom they can set
Donde-
up like exhibit a poster.
donde se escribiera y se dijera todas las cosas malas que puede hacer con la marihuana.
It can specify all the bad stuff that can be done because of marijuana.
Yo sé que ahorita respondió usted que
I
es
know
la ciudad, pero usted no tiene. Pero
Then you
pero
answer
acuérdese,
that this is the
estamos muy
city,
preocupados por nuestros
but we're
hijos,
very
por nuestros estudiantes.
concerned for our children, our students.
Ya debería estar contratando gente
You should be
que vaya a dar
hiring
pláticas en
people
salón por
that
salón,
can
como puede
give
ser también los
different
policías,
presentations from
porque
one
no
classroom
sabemos
to another. It can
el
also
problema
be the
que se
police,
nos viene encima.
because we don't know
Es
the
muy
kind of
serio,
problem that we're
es
gonna
una
be
cosa,
facing.
porque ya va a haber
It's
marihuana en
very
todas
serious
partes,
because now there's going to be marijuana all over the place.
ya la ciudad empieza a oler marihuana por
The
todos lados.
city already starts
Y mucha gente
smelling
está
like
sembrando en
marijuana
sus
all
casas.
over the place. A lot of people
Y
is
no tenemos
celebrating at
suficientes
their
policías
houses,
para controlarlo.
and we don't have enough police to control it.
Entonces sí quisiera que sí tomaran muy en serio
So
esto.
I wish that you
Es
could take very seriously this matter.
No es una cosa sencilla.
It's not a-
No es una
not
cosa,
an easy
es una cosa
task.
muy grave que va a pasar.
It's something
Vamos a tener el problema.
really
Más vale ir
difficult that it's
a
gonna
tiempo y más vale ir a tiempo poniendo un remedio.
We're going to have the problem,
Porque-
and it's better
porque
for
nos
us
vamos
to
a
have a
arrepentir.
remedy. Otherwise, we're going to regret it.
Y también quisiera, pues ustedes como miembros del board,
And also, I wish, you as a members of the board,
por mejorar nuestro rendimiento académico de nuestros estudiantes,
I would like to better our academic achievement.
que así como los maestros evalúan a los
Just like
estudiantes,
the way the teachers evaluate the students,
que en high school los alumnos tuvieran la oportunidad de evaluar a cada uno de sus maestros.
also the students in high school, they had the opportunity to evaluate each one of their teachers.
Que al final de cada semestre se les diera una boleta
At the end of each one of the semesters, they can have like some kind of a ballot,
sí, como una encuesta para ver qué
like a
les pareció al
survey,
maestro
to
también.
see what they think about their teachers.
Yo sé que hay muchos maestros buenos y hay muchos maestros malos, pero
I know
también
that there's many
deberían de
good
dar la
teachers
oportunidad
and many bad ones, but I also think that the opportunity should be given
de hacer una evaluación de
to
los
make an
maestros.
evaluation of
Eso
the teachers.
ayudaría grandemente a la educación.
That will really help the education.
Y si el maestro resulta reprobado,
And if the teacher not approved,
ustedes puedan hablar con él y esforzar para que él pueda
so you
cambiar
can have a
y se fuera
conversation
mejor.
with them so that he can try harder and do better.
Yo he visto maestros muy malos y uno he visto muy buenos también.
I've seen teachers really bad and also really good ones.
Pero una forma de también de evaluar y que el rendimiento académico suba.
But a way to evaluate so the academic achievement can grow.
Como le digo, yo estuve en México en una universidad y
Like I
teníamos la
told you,
oportunidad nosotros de evaluar a los maestros.
I was in Mexico in a university and we had the opportunity to evaluate our teachers.
Y eso dio muy buenos resultados.
And that gave very good results.
Así es que espero que se hagan los cambios necesarios,
So I
maestra
hope
Smith.
that the
Y
necessary changes
felicidades de
can
vuelta.
be made, Mrs.
Gracias por
Smith,
todo.
and congratulations again, and thank you for everything.
All right, last speaker on the non-agenda item is Roy Bleckert.
The choir was a nice touch, thank you. On the appointments, Evan, you slid sideways. Congratulations, you went from nothing to a new title, Jesus. CJ, you switched titles. Gary, you drew the short stick. What can I say? But I saved the best for last because a part-time school teacher retired a little less than a year ago, went to school board member, and now president of the school board in a year. Congratulations, Susan Smith.
Thank you.
It was a little less than a year ago that I met you in this very room. And I knew you were something special, and there's been nothing that's changed my mind since. Thank you, Mrs. Quintero, for the kind words. I would like to, and I was at a public meeting about the golf course, and there was a teacher that brought up some concerns about how the Think Together program was administered. Get with Council Member Cabrera. He has the name of the teacher. I don't remember who it was, but I would like to see if her concerns were valid. One thing I think that really should be emphasized in Moreno Valley is our water polo team, the Valley View water polo team that won the CIF championships. Coach Chris Knowles and his team hit almost insurmountable odds. They had a pool that wasn't a pool that they didn't have to do. They were the kids that weren't supposed to win, and they did. That's a story that really should be told. And it should be told in this area because it personifies Moreno Valley, because this community takes a lot of brickbats. But we should reward, and recognize the ones that take on the challenges and succeed beyond all odds. Because that should be the shining example we should set and the standard we should strive to. And when people tell us we can't do something, we can say, no, yes, we can. It boggles my mind sometimes, some of the things that we concentrate on, or we look at, or what we do, or what we put up in front here, and some of the things that we don't. All across, not only in this school district, but across the city. I hope that attitude and I hope that outlook changes. I think the elections of 2016 proved that. I think the elections of 2018 will personify that, and we will have a better community for it.
Thank you for all of your comments. We're moving on to page 28. Item F, consent agenda. All matters in this category are considered to be consistent with the board district goals.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Hold on. Because we did have some amendments, so just read this and then we can.
Okay, we have had an amendment to the consent agenda, so we would like to pull the position of Head Start Supervisor and the Director of Maintenance and Operations. We have not yet filled those positions. We would like to add Tanisha Grattan as Director of Purchasing, and those are the amendments to the consent agenda. So
I move that we adopt the agenda with the proposed amendments.
moved by Eva Morgan,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for a vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Hoagie.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Okay, go to page 68. Ooh.
29.
Some fairy has written on my thing, the good fairy has written, go to page 68. I thought it was 78 as well.
Oh, it is 78.
It is 78, okay.
Bad.
Okay. Don't you listen to Diane too?
No.
Oh, I thought she was directing us all. Okay, so action items, G1, educational services action items. G1A, student discipline cases, 525 to 532. I need a motion.
I move that we approve those cases, please.
Moved by Mr. Baugh. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Johnson. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Hoagie.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, page 83, G2, business services action items. Provides that board members receive payment by resolution for absence due to illness, direct district-related business, jury duty, or if the absence was due to a hardship deemed acceptable by the board. On November 14th, 2017, board member Eva Morgan was absent from the regular board meeting due to a hardship deemed acceptable by the board. Resolution number 2017-1839 authorized the district to pay Mr. Morgan for his absence. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved? A second?
I'll second.
Mr. Holguin, a seconder. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Abstain.
Mr. Baugh.
Yay, 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 yes.
Okay. Mr. Johnson. Mr. Hoagie.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Thank you. The vote has been unanimous in the affirmative. Page 85?
No, it was 4 ayes, 1 abstention.
Aye.
I'm sorry. 4 aye, 1 abstention. I think I said in the affirmative.
Unanimous in the affirmative.
Okay, thank you. Moving to page 85, G3, Human Resources Action Items, revised salary schedules for noon duty aides. Mr. Verde, do you have a comment on this?
Thanks, Ms. Smith. This item just keeps us in line with the change in California law effective January 1 that moves the minimum wage in our state from $10.50 per hour to $11 per hour. This position, the noon duty aides, along with the parent ed trainer, are the ones that are impacted by this. So we brought forward the updated salary schedule for the board's approval tonight.
Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Baugh, seconded by Mr. Holguin. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Hoagie.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Are we on 98? Wait, you're on 87. Okay. Superintendent discussion action items. First reading of the board policy 1113, district and school websites. Dr. Kedziora.
It's Mrs. Smith, this is a first reading, and this is for the board to review, but this is just updating our board policies in alignment with CSBA and making sure that we're current. So, again, this is a first reading, so you're not voting on it. And there's another one, too, on page 91, which is the same. It's the first reading about social media. Again, it's updating our policy to reflect CSBA and make us in alignment with what current practices are.
Okay.
So you can go to 98 now.
Now we're moving to 98, Business Services Discussion Action Items. First interim financial report, Tina Dagnall.
Tonight, we have the pleasure of having Jessica Garcia and Jennifer Miller do a presentation on our first interim financial report.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Dr. Kedziora, and cabinet members. Tonight I have the pleasure of doing my first board presentation for Moreno Valley. It's actually my very first board presentation ever, so bear with me tonight.
So speak directly into the mic.
Okay, right here. Okay. And so what we had done was we did our first interim reporting, and this is something that we do annually. There's a few reporting cycles within the fiscal year, and the first one right now was the first interim that ended as of October 31st. And so what we do is we look at our adopted budget, and we start doing a comparison to pretty much benchmark where we're at right now as of October 31st. We prepare a report that is getting presented to you tonight in summary that goes over to Riverside County office by December 15th. And the components of the interim report are basically our actual and projected financial and budget data. We look at our actual and projected cash flow, multi-year projections, there's some criteria standards, and then there's the certification piece. So what we're doing is basically saying, okay, what did we plan on and where are we right now? Actually, as of October 31st. This right here is our major assumptions. And so what you can see is as a first interim, we had a 1.5% COLA. We placed in our budget a 43.19% gap funding rate. Our district enrollment right now as a first interim is 32,938. Our charter enrollment's at 52. Our district ADA, 31,341. And as you can see in the bottom, we are projecting for the out years a 1.5% for step and column. And as you can see, we're all aware of the STRS and PERS increases for the current year and the out years. And so what you're seeing is right now we're at 14.43% for the STRS increase. Actually, that's the rate we're at. We're at a 15.8 for CalPERS. Right below those, you see what the fiscal impact is going to be as the rate does continue to climb. So our projected LCFF funding. So for 2016-17, we had approximately, well, we had $317,449,884. Our base increase for this year was $3.8 million and some change there. We had the supplemental increase, then we have our concentration increase. Basically, this is just a roadmap to show you where we're getting to for our 17-18 LCFF funding, which is the $322,520,763. A little bit of a snapshot of our Moreno Valley history of the LCFF funding. So you'll see prior years, and again, the previous slide, how I showed you the base grant, supplemental, concentration, and total. We just wanted to give you a snapshot so you can see where we were and where we're going. The 2021, I gave you the target funding where we should be, which is the $349,407,903. And then we have a combined general fund, current and multi-year projection. And what this basically shows you is a picture of our revenues and our expenditures what our beginning and ending fund balances look like. And then we break out for you the components of our ending fund balance just to show you where we're reserving our funds. And so you'll see there's reserves for our one-time expenditures. We have some vacation payables, our textbooks, technology lease, and the different reserves for our deficit spending and economic uncertainties. As you progress through the out years, you see that the reserves for deficit spending does decrease because we don't have enough to continue to reserve for the full 100% of the deficit spending. Okay. Our current year revenues right now, we have our LCFF sources, which 323 million, 756,383. Those went up. We had a one-time adjustment in there that we added. Also, you see the federal revenues, state and local. So our total current year revenue as of first interims, right in the bottom right there. And 79%, this graph shows you that close to 80% of our revenues are from LCFF. We get a little bit over 6.5% from federal, close to 13% from state, and less than 1% local. Our current year expenditures, now this is what we're spending our dollars on to support our students in our district. And there's our certificated salaries, classified salaries, our benefits, the supplies, services, capital outlay, other outgo, and our support and transfers out. The total expenditures is $431,709,586. And again, it's just another graph to just show you, if you're visual, what our expenditures look like. And it breaks out what I just covered, but it's in a graph form for you if you're visual. And this right here is a snapshot of all of our other funds within the district. And so what we've done is we've shown you what their beginning balances were, what we estimate their revenues and expenditures are going to be, and what we think their ending balances are. And these include the funds that are charter, adult ed, child development, cafeteria, to name a few. So based on the current and multi-year projections, we believe that we're going to have a positive certification, and we ask that there's an approval that comes along with this. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Should I read this?
There's been some discussion about Measure M. We have not drawn all the money on Measure M at this point. Would you give us a breakdown of almost $400 million? How much is still available for us to use?
You know, I'm going to have to defer to Tina on Measure M, since I've only been here about 7 weeks now and I haven't had the opportunity to properly dive into Measure M to give you an adequate answer on that.
Tina, what's the answer?
Being asked another question, I'm sorry.
We had almost $400 million approved for Measure M.
Mm-hmm.
We have spent X number, and how much is Y number we're waiting, still haven't drawn on at this point.
We have about 40 million that we're projecting to spend this year, leaving us, what is the balance on here? About $50 million at the end of the year.
So that means
And all that money, that 40 million that's been spent, has all been accountable with exactly what we said it was going to do?
Yes, and it's just been encumbered at this point. We're spending it on Canyon Springs, the rest of Edgemont, so we're continuing to spend those dollars. Yep.
Thank you.
And that has to go to building facilities, not Chromebooks and likes like that, right?
Yeah, we've addressed that previously in terms of technology is in the you know, the documentations, but that's more for the infrastructure. So putting the capabilities, the high-speed Wi-Fi, things like that, the cables and things of that nature, not the actual devices. We would not spend that money on.
I just like clarity whenever it's brought up. Thank you.
And then, since you mentioned Chromebooks, is it not so that we're having all our students on the 1st of January have Chromebooks, which they will be able to take home. Is what's suggested that we should do that, but we'd already planned to do it. Is that
Correct. Last board meeting, you approved the actual Chromebook lease, and they will be deployed in the month of January.
Thank you.
That's third grade and up, not all students.
What?
3rd through 12th.
Third grade and up, right?
That's how it is in other districts too.
Okay,
Yeah, second graders don't need Chromebooks.
maybe they do.
Thank you. Good presentation.
Thank you.
I have some questions. I guess you're gonna have to teach me how to read this because I'm a little confused. And I don't have page numbers, so I guess this slide number 5, I guess it is.
What's the slide heading?
Projected LCFF funding,
Okay.
this page here. When I look at that page and then I look at the very next page, the bottom line for 2017-18 agrees with the bottom line on both slides. But
It's the same.
the beginning or the top is 317 million here at the top. Do not agree with the next page, 316. So there's a difference there, and I'm not sure why the difference there.
So for total LCFF, I believe that is due to an ADA adjustment at the end of the year, but we will verify it and put something in the Friday memo from you.
And then one more piece along those same lines.
That one is an ADA adjustment because when we're looking at our total LCF revenue in that category, it includes a prior year adjustment. So it's not our calculated LCFF dollars based on our current revenue, but our total dollars revenue coming in that category includes a prior year adjustment for
Okay.
about $1.2 million.
Okay, and then if you go down 3 more slides to where the one that says current
Well, I
year-
can explain this slide, actually, the differences. When you're looking at the slide 5, which is the projected LCFF,
Yes.
and you're looking at the next slide, the projected LCFF is showing the increase to the areas that I referenced. So it's showing the base increase, the supplemental increase. So when you look at the next slide, that bottom line is inclusive of that increase.
Okay.
Okay? So
And Mr. Holguin, what was your final question? Or what was your next
There's
question?
one more question. On this other slide that says current year revenue, now this is a different number, 323.
that's the one that's inclusive of the prior year ADA correction.
Right. So our LCFF calculator, when we're calculating out our total revenues for the year, the base, supplemental, and concentration, it doesn't include any adjustments made for the prior year, but our current revenue actually does. And so that is the difference. It's $1.2 million that was added to our revenue for this year, but is not included in our calculation of the current year LCFF dollars.
Okay, so maybe a footnote or something would have helped there
Okay.
to understand the difference.
Absolutely.
Something.
And that's funny. I'm glad you caught it. We went back and forth on how to actually show it. So
Okay.
we'll put a note on for the next time.
All right.
Any more
Holguin
questions?
is our bean counter.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Great job.
Okay, if there are no questions, then we need a motion to approve the first interim financial report as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Call for the
Wait,
vote.
I have a
Oh,
couple
wait.
of questions before we vote.
Okay.
So you mentioned that this is a positive certification,
Yes.
meaning we're good for this year and we're good for the next 2 years as of this point,
Yes.
correct? No deficit spending?
We are deficit spending, but we have enough to cover that deficit spending. So we meet the qualifications that's required to have a positive certification, but we are projecting to deficit spend.
Okay, but we're still going to meet our liabilities and obligations for this year and for the next 2 years.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye.
Motion carried.
The motion is carried. 5 ayes, no nays, no abstentions. Are we moving clear to 223 now?
Yes.
We just went past 200 pages so quickly.
That's good.
Okay, yes, that's a good thing, because we're moving on toward the end of the agenda. So, H2B, page 223, authorization of parent community booster clubs. Board Policy 1230 requires that parent community booster clubs be authorized by the Board of Education on an annual basis. It is recommended that the board authorize the attached list of parent community booster clubs for the 2018 calendar year. Business Services will continue to monitor all booster clubs to ensure that the groups meet all requirements as stated in BP 1230. Business Services will have copies of all required documents for review on file. Tina, do you have anything to add to that?
We do approve our booster clubs on a calendar year, not a fiscal year. These are the booster clubs that have gone to the training, submitted all their necessary paperwork that we can approve right now. We have several that are pending additional forms, different signatures that we need. So I'm hoping that next time we'll bring you another large list of them. But this is what we can approve right now. What we're asking you to approve right now.
It seems like not very many.
Correct. Everybody's done the training. We're just missing like 1 or 2 little small pieces, but we need to finalize.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to seeing the rest. Do I have a motion to approve the authorization for parent community booster clubs?
I move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Morgan, seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. 5 ayes, no nays. That is passed. We are moving on to page 225. Recommendation to the governing board to approve new appointment to the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. So, Mrs. Dagnall, again, this is your deal.
Yeah, so we're asking you to approve Ms. Jennifer Bell as the final member to our Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. She will be filling the position of having a child enrolled in the district and active in any parent-teacher organization. She wasn't able to be with us tonight, but we have spoken to her, and she's excited to be part of this committee.
Is this a smaller committee than we had before?
It is smaller. This meets all of the required positions that we need to fill, but it is smaller than we had originally.
Yeah, I thought like last time there were like 12 or something like that. So.
And we can still continue to keep the applications open to try to recruit, but this does meet the required positions.
Okay, great. So, we need a motion to approve the appointment of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee members as presented.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Holguin, seconded by Mr. Baugh. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan?
Aye.
Mr. Baugh?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Holguin?
Aye.
Mrs. Smith?
Aye. Moving to page, are you in 251? 226. Ooh, I didn't know that one. Okay. 226. Yes, H2D, first reading, Board Policy 3470, debt issuance and management. Tina, would you please speak to this?
Absolutely. So Senate Bill 1029 was passed last year, and requires basically some new transparency in the issuance of public debt. And this board policy, is for the first reading, is a sample board policy that is required to be put into place before we do any new debt issuances. Basically, what it does is it just makes the transparency clearer. It outlines the purposes for which the debt proceeds may be used, the types of debt that may be issued, any of the policy goals relating to this, the issuer's planning goals and objective. It just puts in more transparency and more outlined procedures that districts must follow.
Right, thank you. Yeah, so no need to vote on that. We'll move to page 251. H3, Human Resources Discussion, Action Items. Dr. Verde.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith. This item tonight is the first step in a proposed reclassification for 5 positions in human resources. It's a classified management position. Currently, we do have 2 individuals in the department under this particular title, and we are looking to expand it by 5 more. The job description that is coming forward tonight, and it's just the job description tonight, and the actual positions will be brought forward at a later board meeting, is entitled Human Resources Analyst. This was actually part of our LCAP plan a couple of years ago, but was placed on hold by Human Resources in order to bring it back later after some other positions had been approved ahead of it. It's gone through our JFMC. We revisited that just last month. The purpose for this particular reclassification has to do with a change in the assignment of some of the staff in HR. The 2 current human resources analysts on the certificated side of the house are responsible for going through teacher credentialing and counseling credentialing positions to make sure that folks have applied properly and have the correct certifications for those positions. What we have seen over time is on the classified side of the house in a variety of trades positions, driving positions in transportation, instructional assistant positions, just to name a few, that the folks responsible for reviewing those particular recruitments are now tasked with looking at licensing and different certifications in those areas, just as vital and important as the teaching credentialing on the other side of the house. So our staff is now asked to analyze these types of credentials, if you will, and so the folks that are responsible for that requested the reclassification. So this updated job description would open it up to encompass the folks that work with classified recruitments, along with the folks that work with the certificated ones.
Okay, we need a motion to approve the revised HR analyst job descriptions as presented.
So moved.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Baugh, seconded by Mr. Johnson. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
Mr. Baugh.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. Motion carried, 5 ayes, no nays, no abstentions. Moving to page 255. Board Resolution 2017-1829, reduction and/or elimination of certain classified bargaining unit positions effective December 13th, 2017. Dr. Verde, do you have a comment on that?
Thank you again, Mrs. Smith. This item is one that we bring to the board regularly to, again, better address the needs of our students, to make sure that we are not encumbering dollars in positions that are vacant, or in some cases when IEPs change for our special needs students, we do have elimination or reduction of some hours for instructional assistants. So we do this to make sure that the books are current and reflect the actual positions that are utilized by the district at this time in these positions. So again, we communicate this with the bargaining unit to make sure they are kept in the loop on what these actions mean. No one is losing a position in these cases, so we again bring this to the board for bookkeeping purposes to make sure that all the positions are current.
Okay, we need a motion to approve Resolution 2017-1829 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Morgan. Call for the vote.
Mr. Morgan.
Aye.
Mr. Bach.
Aye.
Mr. Johnson.
Aye.
Mr. Holguin.
Aye.
Mrs. Smith.
Aye. 5 ayes, no nays, motion carries. 257. Okay, and this is an acknowledgement on the Williams Settlement Quarterly Report, and that will be presented by Mrs. Maddox.
This is the quarterly report presented to the board on the number of Williams complaints received. And as you can see on page 258, we don't have any complaints received at this time.
I'm glad we don't have any Williams complaints at this time. Thank you. Okay. Board comments, Mr. Morgan.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about something that Mr. Quintero had mentioned, the education and the putting up of a poster in every classroom for marijuana education. And that's probably a good idea, putting something up in the classroom, especially in like middle school and elementary school, because middle school is probably where kids start to try, if not high school. So elementary school get to them beforehand, because I came up in the 80s and 90s under the Reagan era of the say no to drugs and the just say no, and I saw that fail so miserably. That just telling you to do something just because failed so miserably that, I mean, man, if we can go to war on drugs and fail that miserably, can we go to war on like poverty too, so everybody else can be rich? Because it was pretty bad. So at that same time though, we've seen nicotine and cigarette smoking decrease astronomically. And the reason why is because there's been so much out there with information on what smoking cigarettes does to you. So more so than just, it's bad, don't do it. It's bad, it gives you lung cancer, it gives you gum disease, it gives you this, it gives you that, your teeth fall out, your skin rots, all the different reasons why smoking is terrible has led to my generation of people quit smoking, and even the people before me quitting smoking. So I think education, and since we're educators and we're in the business of educating children, should start the policy. Because what they do in the city and what tax revenues that they're going to generate is only predicated upon what we can instill in our kids first. We have them first before they become citizens of the city or the state. So it's up to us to give them that education about marijuana and its side effects or anything that that comes with that. And it's not just say no. It's real facts, real evidence, real information, like we did with nicotine and cigarettes. I also wanted to talk about a couple of people coming up here and congratulating us and congratulations, Susan, on your new role, and Jesus and CJ. You kind of stepped back a little bit, but you still have an important duty in the clerk. You get to sign everything. And I appreciate their kind gesture of saying I should move up, but I would have kindly declined any offer for any position, as I am far too busy with my business and with the work I do all the way out in Palm Desert to be able to take on a role with such responsibility as the board president or the vice president or the clerk, who has to be at a lot of these functions. And I'm trying to make it to more and more as much as I can now that I have a little bit of help with babysitting and whatnot. But yeah, I definitely not ready to step into one of those roles as of now. So I feel we made some good choices tonight, and I appreciate their sentiments. Last night I had the ability to go to the California League of Middle Schools Award, and I feel that our nominee should have won. I think she had the best speech last night and was possibly the best candidate. But I mean, when you win it as much as we do, people start thinking there's a conspiracy. So we had to let somebody else win it last night. Also, the school board conference for the California State School Boards Association was a couple weeks ago, and it was a great conference. The weather in San Diego was beautiful. There was some really good presentations this year that I really enjoyed, and one of the ones I really want to talk about, which Roy also mentioned, the no homework thing, was presented by Google, and I believe, Gary, you were in that one with me, and Dr. Verde was in there with me on that one. And it was presented by Jamie Cassup. His title's pretty funny. He is the head technology and education evangelist for Google. So he evangelizes everybody into the Google ways. But it's basically the integration of technology and into education. And one of the things that he said that was really powerful to me and that I have agreed with for a while is that we need to start looking at society and school and how we're integrating them both into a new way. We're in 2018 about to be, a couple years away from 2020, and we're still teaching kids in a lot of the same ways that my parents or my parents' parents were educated. And that's not going to cut it for this advanced technological society that we're stepping into. We're about to have, within our lifetime, you probably will no longer buy a car. You will just have a car show up at your house and pick you up automated. You won't go into a store within my lifetime. You will just have something that you want shipped to your house. There won't be Best Buys and Walmarts. So we need to start teaching these kids a lot of different ways and find new ways to educate and new things to educate. And one of his main principles was finding that work-life balance that all of these companies are trying to instill in their employees now, and that comes with homework. I believe that homework does have a place for the work that you don't finish in school, but to give a kid a mundane amount of homework and then have them go and finish it on their own time, and then they don't have time to socialize or do anything with their friends, really cuts into their work-life balance and that flow. Jamie has some really interesting TED Talk discussions. I encourage everybody to Google them and watch on YouTube some of his TED Talks. One of the points he brought up was homework being an equality issue, because you have some kids that do not have the same resources as others to be able to complete that homework. When you have some kids that have great internet and great technology at their disposal, they have 20 computers in their house and laptops all over the place, and they can watch all these things. And then you have another kid that has to walk to the library to maybe use a computer if he can get in line and then get the time to get on the computer to be able to do his homework. You're going to have some kids that have a greater chance of getting to college than others. So I know we're doing a great job with bringing the Google Chromebooks and giving them to the students to take home, but that doesn't give them Wi-Fi capabilities. That doesn't give them internet access. It just gives them a Chromebook that they can type things on. So there still is an equality gap there and that's something that we've also been talking about lately. Is it's not just giving everybody an equal opportunity, it's also giving everybody a fair opportunity to achieve as much as I can achieve, as much as Gary can achieve, as much as CJ can achieve. Every student should be able to have the same opportunity and equity to be able to achieve the dream of going to college or getting a good job or being at least prepared for a trade. So I think that we're heading in the right direction with that, but I think there's other things that we can look into. And I just encourage everybody to kind of look at some of those TED Talks that Jamie had posted. So, and that's it. I think this is probably my record for most time talked.
I'd like to thank CJ for his leadership over the last year. Done an excellent job, and since you know the clerk job, you're going to do fine on that as well. I congratulate Susan for being elected as the president of the board, and she will do an excellent job, I'm sure. I would also like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas on the staff. I think it's important that we have 3 weeks off now so that we can recover our excitement for education. So I hope that students will come back from vacation fired up, ready to go to school again. That's all I have to say.
Okay. I'm not used to speaking third, but that's okay. I can do it. For all of those kids and adults that received recognition tonight, we've already said congratulations and we shook their hands. But I just wanted to just amplify that by saying again, we appreciate everything that they did to be recognized like they were tonight. To me, it's a pleasure for us as a school board to first of all acknowledge and bring those folks to our meetings so we can shake their hands and present them with some type of recognition for their hard work. So again, on behalf of all of us, I appreciate and thank them for their hard work and their diligence. And I'm sure you guys did the same thing I did. I mean, I looked at the faces, and I don't think we saw a face that wondered, why am I here tonight? Everybody that I saw, they were elated. They were very happy. So as they continue to do great work, Dr. K, thank you for having your folks out there in the field recognize them and bringing them forward so we could congratulate them in a professional manner. So thank you for that. And then also, since we're saying thank you, I have quite a few of those. Every year the Optimist Club come here and they present jackets to our kids. I hope we don't ever think or take it just for granted that that's something that they do every year. They could be doing something else, but they want to give back to the community to the point where they've even employed or recruited one of our very own. He didn't really want to be in the spotlight, but they called his name out, and they told him to take this jacket and put it on one of the students. But the whole point is those folks love doing that, and we love having them to come over here every year and presenting those Letterman jackets to those kids who are so well deserving of everything that the school district and anybody else in the city can give them. But Dr. K, it really made us feel good to see you involved in that giving process as well. Although that's something that you do anyway, but this time you were uncovered because you got called out and asked to participate. So to the Optimist Club, continue doing that. The kids love it, and I'm sure the families enjoy it as well. We had the Canyon Springs Choir here in the beginning. I went off script. Nobody would know it except I'm telling you about it. I put Mrs. Smith, the choir director, on the spot, and I asked her, did she have one other song? Any director who's in charge of students or people who sing or play instruments, you should always have at least two in your pocket. And so she came prepared. But I did that because those kids practice. They practice and they practice because they knew they were going to be coming out here tonight and they were going to be on TV as well. But more than that, they knew that they would be representing not only their school, but this entire district. So I wanted them to be heard as long as possible. And I think all of us really enjoyed hearing them and seeing the wonderful job that Mrs. Smith has done with our kids. It also reminds me of and I mentioned this earlier today, but it reminds me of the coach who took his kids to the CIF in water polo. Here's a guy who didn't really know any kids and didn't really have any kids who knew anything about water polo, didn't really care about it, but he brought those kids together and the end result was a CIF championship, and a group of boys who are going to remember the camaraderie that they had with their teammates, probably for the rest of their lives. I know they're going to be returning next year, some of them, most of them, in fact. But even at that, though, winning a championship like that for boys who heretofore were not involved in water polo at all. And so I tip my hat, and we mentioned this earlier, but I tip my hat to that coach who came over here and was able to pick out some talented kids who came together as one, and we saw the proof in that pudding. So congratulations to them again. You know, I mentioned earlier too about Martin Luther King. I'm surprised that Jesus is getting to be so old, because it's really funny when you're around people, a lot of people that don't even know the guy. They just read about him in books. But Jesus and Gary, they were around.
Thank you, CJ.
I wanted to make sure you guys laugh. But some of us were around when the man walked on this earth. You know, so I added a little bit to the presentation today, only because I didn't want to just give somebody a proclamation and just say this is it, you know. But you're talking about someone. I mean, how many of us don't raise your hands because there's nobody in here but a couple of people. But how many of us would give our lives to do some of the things that some of those people did? You got to be frightened. You got to be scared to death. But you also knew that in the end, if it turned out the way you expected to turn out, then your life would not have been in vain. As I said, you know, I wanted to be a part of that, but you know, I chose the different route. I didn't know the route I took would prohibit me from being involved, but I was right there, so I knew what was going on. So even though we made that presentation, I just want people to understand that people sacrifice a lot of blood and a lot of lives to be able to have what we have today. And you know, and I don't want to get into politics, but if you take a look at what happened in Alabama today, think about the time when King marched. People that looked like him were not voting in Alabama. I remember the first time I voted, I was in England, and I had a friend, a roommate, who told me he could not vote. I couldn't believe it. I thought that you can just do like we did in Texas. You can just register. You have to take a test, but he couldn't. Today we have people that don't do it, and they can do it. So I hope as we acknowledge Martin Luther King, we realize the sacrifices people made in order that we may have it better, and then we take advantage of those things. Merry Christmas to everyone. Hope everyone have a great holiday, a happy new year. And I really tip my hat to the board and to the entire school district and all of our schools for a wonderful start this year. We've had some hiccups like anybody else, but they've been held to a minimum, and I think it's because of the leadership that we have here. The people really care. They've always cared, but once you get a leader, like we had with Dr. White and now Dr. Katchiora, once you get leaders like that, people tend to go back and reach their potentials. For some reason, sometimes we fall to the wayside and we just fall back. But once we find out, you know, what the leaders are like, they set the tone, and the people go out and do the work. So Dr. K, thank you, and your cabinet, the staff, for the work that has been done since school started up until now. And we're looking for a greater year starting in January. Thank all of you for the recognition, the plaque. I appreciate that. Thank you for it. I was not looking for that. I would imagine if you ask anybody on the board, we didn't. Well, first of all, I didn't run for the board so I can get awards and recognition. I did it because I thought I had something to offer, And so I still maintain that, and I think you guys feel the same way. But when your colleagues and the administration see fit to do something like this, it's very gratifying. So thank you guys very much for that. And finally, some of you, or most of you, know that we've had some downs, personal downs in the district. Gary just recently lost his father, and then I lost my mother. So I want to close with a poem for him. Those we love don't go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near. Still loved, still missed, and held so dear. My friend.
You know, if I was in front of your dad, Gary, and your mom, CJ, I would say thank you to both of them for bringing you to this place where you have done excellent things for many of us, not just for the students, but for many of us. You have taught us a lot, at least me, and I know how difficult it is, because I also lost my parents a long time ago. But I just want you to know that I join you in your feelings, and I know your parents are in a better place now. But you know, you're strong. You're strong, and you continue moving forward in a much more positive manner. And I also want to say thank you, Mr. CJ, for your comments about my age. Thank you so much. And I want to say,
ice, man. I had to break the ice because I was getting too serious.
and I want to say thank you to all of you in the audience, all three of you. Thank you for staying this late. Appreciate it. So, you know, this has been this district is always busy. There's always a lot of activity. There's a lot of things happening in the district. Every single night there's something going on. And Dr. Kitsura is right when he says, if somebody says there's nothing going on in Moreno Valley, at least in the school district, it's wrong. It's wrong, because all you have to do is look at the calendar, look at the school's calendars, and there's something going on every single night. And we have been trying to take advantage of all those activities and trying to support the students and trying to support staff and as much as we can. And sometimes we run from one place to the other, and we show up and we say hi and bye, and we go to the next place and so on. But we have enjoyed a lot of presentations, a lot of performances by our students lately. You know, I've been at several of those, and I can list a few. At Sanimid Middle, I was at the Harvest Festival with a lot of parents, a lot of students. I went to Landmark Fall Dance production, an amazing production of Landmark. It was, and, you know, the students doing an amazing job, and the director there was just an amazing show. I saw what I was not expecting to see, that quality of show at Landmark Middle School. I went to Vista del Lago to Fall Play, same thing, really nice presentations there. I was really impressed when I went to Ridgecrest Elementary School for the family night. It was amazing how they had a lot of tables with students and their parents truly engaged in the math games, and the students explaining to the parents what the math games were meaning and how they were learning. That was an amazing night. So I was glad I was able to go there. And then a little bit on the sports. Valley View High School, once again, getting really close to the state finals in football team. And we were able to go to the CIF games, and you were there for a couple of minutes, but we were there, and Dr. Kitsura was there too, so we enjoyed that. I also want to thank Valley View High School Madrigals, because on December 1st, they were, I work at the county office in San Bernardino, and on December 1st, they were looking for a choir. And there's a lot of choirs in the San Bernardino area, but when somebody mentioned, we're looking for a choir, and I say, we have one in Moreno Valley. And then they said, well, they're not going to come from Moreno Valley all the way to Cucamonga. Yeah, they will. And they did. They did, and they did an excellent job presenting to employees at the San Bernardino County office, and they were really impressed. I have some pictures that I'm going to share with Dr. Kitsura and Chris. But I want to say thank you to Mr. Jim Wilson for taking the madrigals over there and mark that impression there. I also want to say thank you to the Central Kitchen on November the 20th. They had people at the Central Kitchen working. It was a holiday, and they were working there, giving away turkeys and all the trimmings for families in need. It was great, and there was a lot of volunteers working there, and a lot of families benefited from that. So I want to say thank you. It was a really good. It was a short time where a lot of families came through, and they got a lot of good stuff from Central Kitchen, and the parent ambassadors were there, and several other volunteers, along with many different organizations that contributed to put together all those baskets that the people got. So that was a good day. During the presentation, Dr. Kitsura, he mentioned about the dual immersion programs here in the district, and the Seal of Multiliteracy dinner that we several of us were able to attend and recognize 68 of our students receiving the Seal of Multiliteracy. Just a couple of days before that, or actually even the same day, I was invited to the Fresno County Office of Education, and they had what they call the Dual Immersion Conference, the very same day, the Dual Immersion Conference. And the reason they invited us, or they invited me, I should say, is because they wanted to know what was happening in Moreno Valley as far as the Dual Immersion Program, how it was working, how we were doing it, and so it was an honor to be there in front of districts from the entire Fresno County office that are thinking about either implementing it or expanding the dual immersion programs. So they wanted to know what is happening in Moreno Valley. I asked Dr. Kitsura to provide me with some information, which he did, and so I took that information and I spoke in front of these 125 educators there, and I was able to put the district again at the shining spot there. So that was great. And again, congratulations to those 68 students that got the multiliteracy seal. And then he mentioned also the Golden Bell. We got the Golden Bell one more time. What is it now, 8 or 9 Golden Bells that we have in the district? 9?
8.
Probably 9 or 8. Okay, 8. But anyway, we got one, and I'm very happy to say that was one of, I believe there was only 3 or 4 in Riverside County. There's 50 Golden Bells throughout the state, and only 3 or 4 came to Riverside County, so we got one of those, so we should be very happy. We wanted 3, I know, we wanted 3, but we got one, so that was great. And so very proud of that. During the conference, which Mr. Morgan mentioned, we were able to attend several sessions, and I was able to participate in a couple of sessions, and one of those, I have maintained good connections with the presidents of the 4 main organizations in California, the CSBA, the California School Boards Association, the business officials, AXA, the school administrators, and the county superintendents of schools. And we had a panel with the 4 presidents, and we asked them about education from their perspective. But the thing for me is that we are maintaining that communication, those relationships with them, so that we can go to them if we need any kind of assistance, or in many cases they have called and asked for questions about what is happening in Moreno Valley or Riverside County or that kind of thing. But that maintaining those relationships, I think, is very beneficial for us. Again, Dr. Kitsura and I continue working with CSBA on the professional learning network, where other districts are learning about how things are being done in Moreno Valley and in other districts too, but we're sharing information, and I'm glad that Dr. Kitsura is there because he can provide a lot of great information to those participating in the network. And then as far as the arts, a couple of things happening in the arts. Mr. Greg Solomon, the VAPA coordinator, and myself were invited to participate in a panel this past Friday. And this was a conference organized by the Los Angeles County Arts Commission. Los Angeles County Arts Commission. And it was only for people within the LA County, Los Angeles County, because they are trying to expand the arts and doing different great things in many districts and communities, and not only school districts, but entire communities. But again, they invited us because they wanted to know what we were doing in Moreno Valley as far as the arts. And remember, you would remember that we adopted that resolution that gives the students the rights for an equitable arts education. So they wanted to hear how we did it here, how we passed that resolution, because many districts in Los Angeles County are very close to adopting that resolution. But we still were the first ones in the state, so that was a great thing. And then let's see, what else I want to say? Concerts, more concerts. I want to say thank you to the Valverde Unified School District, because during this past week or so, we had 3 different encounters, again, not encounters, but connections with them. One of them, we were invited to attend the Valverde Unified School District State of the District, where the Superintendent McCormick gave the speech at State of the District. So I want to say thank you for inviting us to that. We also were invited to the Rancho Verde High School football game this past Friday, so that was great to be there and see the game. I'm not going to say the result, but it's okay. And also this morning I was invited to attend the DLAC meeting and speak to the parents, from the parent perspective, not the board member or anything, but parent to parents. So thank you to the Valverde Unified School District parents for inviting me to that. And there's a lot of things happening as far as band concerts and choir concerts and on and on and on. So it's a lot of things happening in the district, a lot of talent. Congratulations to the teacher, Ms. Smith, that was nominated for the California League of Schools Teacher of the Year last night. She gave an excellent speech. I think it was the best speech. It was excellent. She hit the right points, and I'm just very proud. And I was able to talk to her and take a picture and stuff. But it was great. So I want to say thank you to all those people that have anything to do with the education of our children here in Moreno Valley. It's a great team, and the great team that keeps moving forward, doing positive things for all of our students. And also for adults, for the families. I heard in Valverde today that some of the adults attending classes in adults programs are actually classes generated here in Moreno Valley School District. So they are also benefiting from our classes here. So that was good to hear. And last thing I want to say is the holidays are here, and it's a very happy time for many people, but it's also a very sad time for others. There's a lot of depression. There's a lot of students and families that fall into depression these times because of many different reasons. People that come from other countries are away from their families, and that may become depressing. Losing a family member may get depressing. But I just hope that everybody, whoever can be in a very happy environment, enjoys as much as possible. And those that need some kind of comfort, find that comfort in somebody else, and talking with friends or visiting friends or attending events or something, doing something that would really help people to kind of overcome those challenges. And if we know somebody, my invitation is that we approach that somebody and grab their hand and be with them and keep their company and all that. And the most important thing is for our students and for our families, I hope that the celebrations this time are safe, that the students can celebrate responsibly, so that we don't have to, we don't have to hear about the negative things or accidents or things that don't have to happen if we act responsible in our celebrations. So with that, I hope everybody has great celebrations in whichever way, whichever manner you celebrate. Happy holidays, and looking forward to a couple more things the rest of the week, because we have some more things happening in the next few days. and then good, well-deserved rest for many of our employees in the district, getting ready to come back in the new year with more energy and ready to go again. Thank you. And congratulations, Ms. Smith, on your position as president there.
Thank you, and thank you to my fellow board members for having that confidence, maybe more confidence than I have in myself, to elect me president. So thank you. I look forward to a great year. I'm so glad that I have Jesus right here on my right hand, so when I make a mistake, he can fill me in, and Dr. Kadziora here on my left to make sure I'm on the correct page. So thank you, and I think with their help, I can move ahead, and it'll be a great year. I was happy to see the choir from Canyon Springs High School here performing. They did such a great job. You know, Valley View High School has always been noted for their music program. For many years, the choir director there has taken their choir to amazing places. 5 years ago, Canyon Springs High School did not have a choir. My granddaughter went there. She wanted to be in the choir. They had a little kind of chorus when she was a freshman, but then after that, nothing. Now she's 19 and going to college, and now they have a great choir at Canyon Springs High School, and I was happy to see them here performing for us tonight. So congratulations to the choir director and for all of the students for doing such a great job. I was happy to see the group here passing out Letterman's jackets. Those kids look so good in their new jackets, and they look so proud, and they're finally getting the recognition that they deserve. It's one thing to earn a letter. It's another thing to be able to display that letter proudly on your Letterman's jacket. I was talking to Mr. Baugh. He said he earned a letter in tennis in high school, but could not afford a Letterman's jacket. So I'm glad that some of our students who maybe couldn't afford those jackets are able to have them now.
It was only $50 back then.
It was only $50, and well, that was, you know, that was a lot of money in those days. What? So I noticed that at Moreno Valley High School in the student report, they talked about 318 out of 525 students had completed the A through G requirements. I don't know what it is at our other schools, but I think, what did that man from Valverde say today, that they had 50% that had completed, or a little over 50%? Somebody will probably call you up now and tell me I was wrong. But this is 318 out of 525 is more than 50%. So I'd like to see that number continue to climb at all of our schools. It's important to complete those A through G requirements. Those are the requirements to go to a state college. But even if you just go to Moreno Valley College or RCC, those A through G requirements will help you to get placed directly into college classes instead of having to take some remedial classes in language arts or math before you're eligible for the regular English 1A and the regular college math. So completing those A through G requirements will have a positive impact no matter where you're going to school. Happy to see that Aaron Gruelle is coming back with the Freedom Riders again this year. I went to that event last year and took my husband, and he was surprised at how much he enjoyed seeing the film, meeting some of the Freedom Riders, hearing their stories. Whether you're students or staff or parents, I would recommend that program to you. It's just great to have that experience and to see those students and the things that they went through and the home life that they had prior to their being able to become part of this group, and what an inspirational teacher Ms. Gruelle was and is. Head Start program, one of the programs that is really close to my heart is the preschool programs. The more students we can have in preschool programs, especially those in our district that come from homes that might not have as much enrichment or as many books or as many opportunities as other students, and to bring them in as preschool students and allow them to get a little head start and a catch up with some of those students that might be coming from more enriched backgrounds is really important. I know when I was a teacher, I was teaching fourth grade my second year, not here in Moreno Valley, but at another school district, and we went to the beach. We went down to the mission at San Juan Capistrano, and then afterwards we went down to the beach for lunch. How far is it from here to the beach? Not that far, maybe 60 miles, but I had several students who had never seen the ocean before. So, you know, you think of something that's probably something that most of us do every summer with our students, with our kids, with our own children, and to have kids that live this close to the ocean and yet they've never seen it. So great to have experiences, and not that the Head Start's going to the ocean, but they are getting some enriching experiences that they might not have at home. And also mentioned was the other end of that spectrum, the adult ed. And if you're here in Moreno Valley and you don't have a high school diploma, it will help you, no matter what age you are. It will give you a feeling of accomplishment. It will help you in your job prospects. Contact the adult ed school, which is located on the March Mountain campus, and they will be happy to get you enrolled in to help you get that high school education that you need and deserve. Let me see. I don't think there was anything else I was going to talk about. Well, hey, that's good, because looking forward to the upcoming dedications at Edgemont and Moreno Valley High School opening in their new facilities. And it's going to be great to go and just do a walkthrough and see how the teachers are adjusting and how happy they are in their new environment. And I'd like to extend my condolences for the loss of Mr. Baugh's father and Mr. Johnson's mother. Parents are an important part of our life. And I know there are times when Mr. Baugh has shared experiences that he had with his dad in his first job, with his dad as a baseball coach, and he was helping by collecting balls. Those are just some of those experiences with our parents that we remember for our entire lives. And I'm sure Mr. Johnson had many similar experiences with his mother. We have many great parents in our district too. And I hope that they can provide experiences that their students will never, ever forget, and that will be with them the rest of their lives. And those are things that even when your parents are gone, that you remember and cherish those moments together. So thank you, and on to Dr. Kadziora.
Thank you, Mrs. Smith, and congratulations, Mrs. Smith, on becoming the president of our Board of Education. Mr. Johnson, thank you for working with us and being supportive of us and helping us all learn and grow this past year. I want to respond to some comments that were made this evening, and I'm not going to take a long time, but I do want to clarify some things, and I think it's important because I don't want anyone to ever believe things that are not true about our district. And I want you to know that when we passed Measure M, since that time, we've had several people who've questioned us, which is fine. But in that measure, when we passed it for facilities. But facilities help students with mathematics, science, technology, because there are labs built in those buildings. There are infrastructure that's built in those buildings to help with technology. But we do use the money as it's intended because there are audits and there are checks and balances to make sure that happens. And tonight there was an item on the agenda about an architect for the Moreno Valley High School Visual and Performing Arts Program, a theater. I attended with Mr. Helgeen the choir and band concert just this past week at Moreno Valley High School, and I want you to know that it's a tragedy that the children at that school, at a high school, have had to, all these years, be in a multi-purpose room that's no better than a middle school. So I'm very proud of the district for moving forward with this, but when it's said that we are eliminating a program, those are very different things. That program is called Music of the Heart, and I don't know what's on Facebook, But that program is not a part of our district program. It was an outside person that's wonderful that we funded that program. But as we have increased our visual and performing arts, just as you saw our Canyon Springs Choir here tonight, all of these programs are growing. There are more and more children in band and music and drama and art. We can no longer fund outside programs at the expense of our internal programs. Does that make sense to the board? And so I can't help what people put on Facebook, but I can tell you that we support the arts in our district. And it's very important to support the programs that you as the board have established as a priority. And for instance, Canyon Springs High School hasn't had new band uniforms since the school was built. So we have to replace those uniforms. Well, we can't fund outside programs and take care of the inside programs, the internal programs. So I know there's some concern about this because this program has been funded, and if there was a way to do it, but we have to look at what we said we were going to do. The other thing is about the Chromebooks. It's very important that we all realize the board made technology a priority, and the Chromebooks are being distributed in January, and every student in grades 3 through 12, and Tina Dagnall and Dr. Buster and Maribel Maddox have all done a wonderful job of collaborating. Jolynn Neal has been involved in this with the library and media assistants. It's a real, collaborative effort, but this is big for our district. And Mrs. Dagnall made sure that in this a series of Chromebooks that are being distributed, that students in special education and students in alternative programs would all have those Chromebooks. So, this is happening, and I want you to know that when we talk about the internet, we've looked at this. We do surveys, and 85% of our kids report to us they have internet access at their home. Those 15% that do not, we have maps that we give out to parents and families to provide internet where it's available. All of our schools have internet access, and principals are looking at ways to open schools for longer periods of time and give people access to internet. So we are looking at those things, and we do know where internet access is available, and we do provide that to our students. I do want you to know when we talk about how the money's been used, we look at grants, we look at ways to have access for the internet. We do not believe that students will have a problem. If you look at the cell phone usage at our schools, and I was at Creekside Elementary School today, where it's has the most poverty of any elementary school. Kids had phones there, and they were taking them out and texting their parents. So I'm not saying that everyone does, but there is access. And I talked to kids when I was there. The other thing I want you to know is I want people to come visit our schools, and the people that talk sometimes have never visited our schools and seen the things that we're doing. We have new textbooks in mathematics that we purchased last year. We have new textbooks in English language arts that we purchased this year. We have new materials for our students. It is not like we are not spending money on our students. And we think that's very valuable. Someone talked about the options that we have for our students. We have every option available. We have an online academy where students can go to school 2 days a week, or they can go to school 1 day a week. But we personally design a program to meet the needs of a unique individual and their circumstances. Unfortunately, in our community, most parents do not choose that option. They choose to go to traditional schools and ask for traditional things. But when they want untraditional things, we are open to that, and we work with them to provide that. So I think the board should be proud of the Bayside, the Bridges Learning Center, because what Dr. Guzetta has done over there in centralized independent study and the alternative education options, we have many options available to children. When they're in home and hospital, when they have a particular life problem, we provide an individual educational program to meet their needs. I want you to know that surveys are given. Part of our LCAP, we survey our students to find out how their teachers are performing and how they like school. And we also provide, at the beginning of the year at Canyon Springs High School, they did a student forum where students spoke on what they wanted out of their teachers, what they wanted out of their classes. These things happen sometimes, but people think because they weren't there, they didn't happen, but they do happen. Talking about marijuana, we take this very seriously. The district should be commended instead of questioned about what we're doing. More students are apprehended because of if they're caught with it. We have cameras that we're installing in every high school and every middle school. They're watched, and unfortunately, students can't get away with much. There was a time when you could get away with things, but that doesn't happen. Then you bring in the drug sniffing dogs, which we bring into every school, and that further complicates any activity that someone might be thinking of because they find you. And then the next thing is we have preventions by our counselors. They go into every classroom at middle and high school and at elementary, and they have discussions about these things. Our student handbook specifically is reviewed with all of our middle and high school students, and it's done so for prevention. It's proactive, and we believe that less of those types of activities, even if marijuana, this ordinance is passed, we are vigilant about how these things happen in our schools. Vigilant. And I think the board, you've seen this, when you look at the suspensions or the expulsions, you've said that there are more expulsions for drugs, and there's less for fighting. There's less for other activities. But there are more for drugs, and that's the reason there are. Because we have things in place to prevent that, and we'll continue to do so. Our parent ambassadors work with that, and I could go on. I wrote down many things, and I'll include that, Diane, in my response next time. I do want you to know that our district has a wellness center. Many of you haven't been there yet, but it's at Creekside School, and it provides anything. Connie Edwards is a magician when it comes to connections. But I went over there today, and what they're giving away to families for Christmas and to help them through the holidays and Hanukkah or Kwanzaa, whatever a family celebrates, they find a way to assist families. And it's a wonderful program that's operated through this school district, and that's an option for families. I do want you to thank the board for your support of California League of Middle Schools. I've been involved in that since 1993. And I believe in it. I appreciate what they've done for our district. We got a $1.3 million grant 5 years ago. And if you look at our dashboard, Moreno Valley is green in English language learners, green. The highest color is blue. But do you know what another district beside us, their color is in English language learners? It's orange. Well, anyway, I just want you to know you can compare things all day long, but there are better things that we do and better things that other people do. But we've done a lot of great things, and we will continue to do that because we believe in these children, and we know that without us, they don't get what they need. And it takes all of us to make that happen. I do want to tell Mr. Bob, Mr. Johnson, how much we appreciate you and your families and what you've done for us. And I want to thank all of you, the board and the cabinet. There's some tokens of our appreciation here. And just know that what you do is valued by all of you. And it's not one of us that does something. It's all of us that make it happen. And we have to know that. We have to know that we all have value. And everyone contributes to what's going on here. And I just want to say how proud I am to be the superintendent of this district, and I hope every student has a wonderful holiday. I do want to say I really like what the choir did tonight from Canyon Springs High School. That didn't exist 2 years ago. You know that. That's in the LCAP, and we added that position because Canyon Springs didn't have a choir, and we looked for equity within our schools. And so that is a big piece of what we do, is provide for everyone what opportunities so that if they want to do something, they can do it. So I hope I didn't forget anything. And if I did, I'm sorry.
You'll put it in next.
Mr. Morgan, I apologize, but I, just want you to know this means a lot to us, and I just can't tell you how significant it is what children get every day in the district. When I was at Creekside today, I was so proud of what we offer there, and if you weren't there, you didn't see it. You didn't see what I saw, but I saw it. And I invite you to come with me, because these kids said to me, "Why are you here?" And I said, "Because I care about you." And they said, "Well, why don't more people care about us?" And I said, "I don't know." So thank you.
Thank you. And at 10:32, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
What I need to talk.